And I'm live. Let's see.
Stream at Christmas.
All right. We're good. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the live stream where we do it live. Arden is already here. Haru. Haru to you, too. And Stormy stopped by to say Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, too. Stormy. Joan, of course, is my co host. For those of you who don't know Joan, Joan was a very bad dog once again this weekend. Uh, just the worst, Joan. You're just the worst. So what happened this weekend? I did the Mistletoe Mart. Arden is here, LOL. I did the Mistletoe Mart in Hamilton, New Jersey. That went very well. That was the last. That was on the 19th. That was the last sort of warm day in South Jersey. Merry Christmas, Joan, says Arden. Merry Christmas, little dog. Yeah, she doesn't care. So that was kind of the last warm day. And then I was supposed to do stuff Saturday and Sunday. But Joan ruined everything. So Joan kept me up all night Saturday for no reason. Kite is here. Hi, Kite. Good evening, fellas. Good evening to you, Kite. Kite did a reading of one of the stories in this book, the Piney 16. He did a reading of the Piney that saved Christmas on his Twitch. Feel free to link it in the chat if you'd like, Kite. Ardent says hail. So yeah, the Hamilton thing went great, but then because Joan kept me up all night on Saturday going into Saturday morning, I was a wreck. And then I woke up to a semi-frozen tundra in South Jersey. It was awful. And I just said, screw it. I was supposed to do Unexpected Farm yesterday and today, and I just said no. I just emailed them and said, I can't do it. I just can't. Yesterday, mainly because I was too tired. Today, it was just, I don't know, it's just too frozen. I don't know how many people, I hope people came out for it anyway, but I just couldn't do it. It was outside, and I'm not acclimated to the cold yet. It was 50 degrees 3 days ago. 50. Now it's 30 and lower. I know, you people from Canada are like, what? That's like summertime. Well, I'm not used to it. Ardent, nice. I'll have to check out that. Give your Twitch a shout out on a friend's channel after she made... Oh, hold on. It's going too fast. It's going too fast, Ardent. Oh, there's the link. Nice. I'll have to check that out. Gave your Twitch a shout out. Put on a friend's channel after she made a mod the other day too, Kite. Oh, there you go. Ardent, shout out. Ugh, tired and sick today. Did a lot of talking today. 2 shows. Oh, wow. There's the link. Kite. That's the specific video with it in it. Ardent, faster, faster, faster. Thank you for that. So, yeah. And then, here's the topper. I took Joan with me to my brother's today. Because in my family, what we do in the holidays is we play board games and card games. We play every kind of game. Every kind of game imaginable, we're like buying it and playing it and learning the rules. So I took Joan up to my brother's house, and she pooped in the house twice. Twice. And it's like a disaster when that happens. Not so much for me, because it's not my house, and I don't mind, picking up poop. I'd rather pick up poop than clean up pee. Joan. But it really skeeved out my brother and his kids. Kite, you never have to give me shout outs, Ardent, but thank you so much. That's very nice. So Joan was a very bad dog. I brought you all the way to Steve's, and this is how you repay me. It's terrible. Terrible. So Ardent says that Kite, no worries, man. Call it a Christmas present. We got to get you some subs. Get you some subs, so to speak. I've been doing pretty good in the sub department. I'm just about to crack 3,800. So that's pretty good for me. And so the videos have been doing pretty good hits-wise. It's weird. I think YouTube really capture hits. I really do think they do. Because I sort of get a wave of hits, and then immediately it's like, it just plateaus somewhere and stays there and goes back down. And then eventually it goes down to a point, and it doesn't go quite as low, but that's kind of the pattern. Ardent, she has no remorse at all. Yes. I hit 120 on Rumble. Ooh, congratulations. I think I'm at like 719 on Rumble. JEC is here. Hi, hi, hi. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, JEC, from Piney Claus. So, yeah. So, I'm not going to do a Christmas movie thing. We already did that like a year or two ago. But there is some good news in the box office. Wicked is no longer the number one movie in America. And I think we can all applaud that. Thank God. At some point, the theater majors will hopefully go back to making terrible, terrible musicals and stop running the U.S. government and the movie industry. But we can only hope. Ardent, YouTube is threatening to strike me if I get an infraction in the next 90 days after getting a warning last month for a 2-year-old vid. How am I supposed to manage that? Frickin' YT. I know the feeling. I had one of those too. The upside was, for me, 90 days went like that, and they do eventually erase it. So unless you did some really spicy content that you've kind of forgotten about, I think you'll be okay, but you can never tell with YouTube. JEC, you know what kind of videos I've noticed that do well? Megalopolis videos. Yes, 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 yes. I'm going to review Megalopolis just as soon as I can rent it and not have to pay a bunch of money for what apparently is a barely watchable movie. So it won't be until probably after the holidays at some point. I'm not sure if I should watch it with my girlfriend, so I have a pretty good movie record with her. I don't want to screw it up by picking Megalopolis and making her watch it. I watched The Joker 2 by myself because I knew that one was a stinker. So, Kite, thank the Lord for small favors. Ardent at JEC, hello. Ardent, yeah, I'm not worried. Not like they'd ever monetize me. JEC, yay. Just type it into Bing. A pirate version will pop right up. Oh, I don't do that. I never do that. I couldn't possibly pirate a movie. I mean, I don't even. Is that a thing? Oh, that's illegal. No, I don't do that. I don't do that, YouTube. Never would I ever pirate a movie from Hollywood and the rich people who live there. The rich, insanely rich people who live there. I would never do that to them. They're mega corporations. No. JC, yes. Don't show your girlfriend it. Yeah. No, I want to keep my record pretty good on that. My record with restaurants kind of took a hit this weekend. I took her to a place called Skeeter's. And before you say, well, Skeeter's, you should have known by the name. I had already eaten there, but it was pre-pandemic. And I don't know, they must have changed chefs because pre-pandemic I ate at Skeeter's, and let me tell you something. It was the best hamburger I ever had in South Jersey. Now, it's not a particularly high bar, but it's hard to get a good burger in South Jersey. We're not a burger place, but let me tell you something. It was a delicious burger. So I said, let's go to Skeeter's. And it was a disaster, an absolute disaster. And even the burger they screwed up, I say. In my opinion. Kite, they didn't charge me for it, though. It was undercooked, I think. Kite, piracy, that's a crime. Go to the library. Oh, I'm not sure what you mean, but I'll go there. I'm there all the time anyway. Usually telling everybody about the Jersey Devil. All right. Well, let's get into, instead of crimes, let's see what terrible crimes Hollywood has committed against us and see what movies are playing. Now, it's no surprise. The number one movie is Sonic the Hedgehog 3. This franchise is doing very well. I hear it's pretty watchable. So I may even go back and watch Sonic at some point. But they were projecting 70 million. It underperformed a little bit, 62 million. Still, though, that's not bad. I mean, you know, it's the third in the franchise. Ardent cultural vandalism, most likely. That's not bad for third in the franchise, and they're doing the fourth. The fourth movie's already in the pipeline, so expect that. And this one has Keanu Reeves in it, so everybody's in this. Idris Elba's in it, Jim Carrey's in it, James Marsden. So everybody, they keep stacking up the characters, which I kind of like because they seem to be respecting at least their own history of their recent movies. So there's that. Number 2 is Mufasa, The Lion King. This was a dumb movie to make. I hate the realistic CGI animals for this kind of stuff. I think everybody does. Now I'm finally seeing articles agreeing with me on this subject. You can't do realistic interpretations of the animals and expect them to have the same sort of emotive expressions that the 2D cartoons do. They just don't have the same expressions. You can't even compare them. I mean, The Lion King, Ardent, Mufasa, the Calm King, the Cow King. The Cow King? Oh, you're doing a joke. You can't even compare the two. So when you see animals, like realistic animals, trying to do these lines, it doesn't have the same impact. All right, no, I don't know how I made that typo. So this was they wanted the movie to do better. It did 35 million. This is probably not going to cover the cost of this thing. Let's see. Do we have a budget on this? Yeah, it's a $200 million movie. There you go. So are they washing more money? I don't know. So, yeah, this movie's DOA. There's no way this movie makes 200 million. I mean, look at this. Whoa, well, internationally it did 87. So next week, well, maybe it might break even, for the budget. But I don't think that's money. I mean, 122. Next week, it'll probably do like 60 and 30. Yeah, it'll probably crack 200, but just about. And then, the advertising probably kills any profit. But Sonic should do pretty well. What did this do overseas? Oh, it's not even overseas. Really? How is this movie not overseas? They gotta send this overseas. Oh, okay. So they're waiting for Christmas. Looks like they're waiting for Christmas for it to open. Oh, yeah. It's everywhere. Holy crap. Oh, I can't wait to see the numbers on this next week. Look at this. This is in every freaking country in the world. Wow. I've never seen a lineup like this. And India, finally. India's on here. How come we don't have Indian numbers for the Indian movies? The numbers? Holy cow, this is going to friggin' destroy the box office next week. Okay. So maybe they said 70 and we're missing... What? Did anybody open this week? No, none of these dates are the... Oh, wait. I saw one. One country had the 20th, I think. I lost it. Oh, there it is. Norway. It opened in Norway. Well, Norway is going to make up the 8 million, but yeah, this is going to friggin' this could do 100 million next week, or by the end of Christmas, certainly by New Year's. Worldwide, absolutely. Sonic. So good. So that's the number 1 and 2 movies. But Mufasa is doomed, I think. Probably, probably won't do too great next week. That's probably going to drop. Whereas Sonic, I think, will stay relatively steady. Because, again, it's a perfect movie to take your kids to. And if you have to pick between Sonic and Mufasa, I think you're going to pick Sonic. I think you will. Because it's the adults taking the kids, and the adults are the ones that grew up with Sonic. I mean, they grew up with Mufasa too, but again, it's not the same. Alex Ogle is here. Evening all, just preparing for my flight to the UK in a few hours. I need some inspiration for my fresh Sydney Sweeney pitches. Oh, okay. Well, first off, Alex, I'd like to thank you for clipping me and putting me on the Lotus Eaters to talk about pineapple pizza. That was dirty trick, Alex. So perhaps Sydney Sweeney as a chef, and she is in a competition for making pizzas, and she defeats an evil chef who insists on putting fruit on pizza, and she proves to the world that fruit does not belong on pizza in any shape or form. Okay? Including the Swedes apparently put banana slices on their pizza. And that's just, I think we could all agree that's very wrong. Ardent, LOL, that was a brilliant bit of battery. Alex, well done. Alex, a dirty trick that boosted your numbers. The meanest tricks are the best. Oh, that is true. That is true. Ardent, oh, I learned something really disturbing this week. There is a Swedish pizza recipe that involves bananas. Oh, damn it. Yes. Yes, I learned that as well. It's really disgusting. I've seen a picture. Oh, bastardry. Yes. So, number 3, dropping from 2, is Wicked. Well, Wicked wasn't number 1. Moana 2 was. So, at least it's not number 2 anymore. But, somehow Wicked beat Moana. That's weird. In its 5th week, they're going to make a sequel to this, and I won't see that one either. Let's see. Are we in money yet? I think we're in money. Yeah. Oh, my God. Holy cow. Look at that. 383 million in the States. That's twice as much as worldwide. Well, the rest of the world seems to have taste, I guess. $500 million. Ugh. Too many theater majors in this country. Alex, bastardry. Just like the Adrian Edmondson book, How to Be a Complete Bastard. Number 4 is Moana, dropping from 1 to 4. Wow. That's only a difference of $400,000, though. But it's in more theaters, so there's that. We're definitely getting another Moana. I think we're getting a live-action Moana, right? $790 million. This feels like another movie they're going to try to keep it in theaters to see if they can push it over $1 billion. Ardent, oh gods, Hollywood's going to start adapting Broadway musicals. Yep. Because Wicked has done very well. Now there was one, what was the other one that was fairly recently that didn't do well? I forget now. But there's another one. It's not a Broadway musical, but it is a musical. It's that weird biopic. What's his name? Robbie Williams, I think is a singer's name, where he's a monkey and he sings. It's bizarre. Alex Ogle, Wicked is proof Hollywood will remain broken for a while yet. Well, I look at it this way. It's a musical. It's mostly aimed at women, I think. And it was woke to begin with. I mean, a lot of musicals are pretty woke. The only one I can think of that's probably not woke, I guess, would be the Book of Mormon. It's pretty not woke. I'm sure if we dug down, we could find some musicals that aren't particularly woke. But You know, I mean, here's the thing though. What Hollywood needs to do is go back, and I can't believe I'm saying this, to chasing the money. Because at least if they're making things that make money, that's what they're supposed to do. And you could say, well, I'm never going to go see Wicked, and it's a terrible movie, and why would anybody make that? And God, that's awful. But at least it made money, so it makes sense that the studio made it. Alex, oh, I saw the trailer for that Robbie Williams nonsense and was thoroughly disgusted. It'll probably do really well. I don't know, I never heard of Robbie Williams, but I guess. Ardent, Upside, will probably get a Book of Mormon movie. I don't know, I haven't heard anything about it. I'm surprised we didn't get it. I mean, back when it was super popular, because the South Park guys already have made a movie that was very successful. You would think they would have went right into a movie. I don't know. And I've seen the musical, and you could do a movie of it, and it's not, on the one hand, it's not super reliant on visuals and stagecraft. So it's not like some musicals, I think, are a little too reliant on the stage. Like you really need to experience them on a stage to really get the feel of it. But Book of Mormon, I don't think you need to, because it's so funny. In fact, I think a movie might even improve it to some degree, because you could do funnier things with the visuals. But Ardent, oh dear God, there's a Spider-Man musical, lyrics by Bono and The Edge. There was, yeah, but that flopped harder than the reboot of Spider-Man, which just happened, by the way. They just rebooted the Spider-Man comic, which I shouldn't even say it flopped that harder, but I mean, for a number one, it's probably a number one Spider-Man book. It's probably going to flop as compared to the other number one Spider-Man books that have come out. Because once again, Marvel is in such dire straits. They're, cynically renumbering their comics or starting over or whatever they're doing. That's just my opinion. But you know my opinion of Marvel. Fire everyone. Fire everyone at Marvel. Fire everyone at DC. And start both the companies completely over. That would be the only way to fix it. Unfortunately, I don't think anybody at the studio level cares about making money in the publishing division. So I feel that See, this is the problem with why movies aren't making any money. Because as these multinational corporations get bigger and bigger, their divisions that don't make as much money as other divisions don't matter. And so if you could sacrifice one division that's worth, let's say, $500 million for another division to make $2 billion, well, you're going to do that, right? You will easily sacrifice $500 million to make $2 billion. That makes perfect fiscal sense. And I think that's what they sort of done with ESG. They sacrificed the comics division to boost things in other divisions, and now they may be sacrificing the TV division and the movie division to make inroads in other divisions. But that is a distortion of the market, I think, from the ESG guys like BlackRock. So until we really get rid of BlackRock, I think we'll continue to see some amount of distortions in the marketplace that don't make much sense. Sorry, I heard a beep or something. Ardent, I need to win the lottery so I can start a comic book company and hire a bunch of the old guys. We'd appreciate it. No special covers. Hell, the old school paper and colors. No events. Keep costs as low as possible. That would be a good strategy. That would be my strategy. I would go further and say adopt the Japanese model of doing thick phone book comics, anthologies on newsprint, and license a few characters like, the Transformers or GI Joe or something like that to get people to read the other comics, build up some IPs, and then slowly push out the licensed stuff. You use the licensed stuff to pull up the new stuff that you either own or control. So yeah, it's about a readership. The guys in comics today, most of them don't pursue a readership. Most people I know who buy comics are buying them for the collectability. They're not buying them for the readership anymore. Now, if you go back into the past, the guys who buy the old stuff, some of them are buying it for the read. But those guys, they can buy reprints of graphic novels, and that's what a lot of people are doing. Or you can buy the reprints online. You can buy PDFs. You can buy the first 500 Batman issues for $50 in PDF form, by the way. And it's not pirated or anything. Alex, adopt a Japanese model. I feel another Tony D out of context coming on. Ah, damn it. Ardent, good idea. Could use some public domain characters too. Solomon Kane, Conan, etc. LeMay is here. Hi. Alex Ogle. Hello, LeMay. Yes, and Tintin has just, or is going to become public domain. I don't think it happened yet. I think it's right on the cusp. Popeye, they've got Popeye the Slayer Man coming out. That's the first movie adaptation of Popeye. So Popeye's in the public domain. We've got Popeye, Steamboat Willie, I think Zorro, and I think there's one other I can't think of. And then Tintin is the next one. It's either in it or about to flip. Superman, I think, is within 5 years. Ardent at Alex Ogle. Pitch idea. Sydney Sweeney, a model in Japan, is adopted after a terrible tragedy by an elder distinguished comic book writer. Nice. Ardent at LeMay. Hey, hey. Ardent, Superman and Batman very soon. Yeah, I think it's within 5 years. Mark Millar is plotting to do a Batman or a Superman one. He said he's starting on it now, so he has a bunch of issues to launch. So that should be very interesting. I would read a Mark Millar Superman. Ardent, how long till Aquaman? I'd love a crack at that character. That's a little later, because keep in mind that what I read about Aquaman is he was DC's answer to Namor, and so he was created specifically to try to steal the Namor fans. Namor came later, and that was maybe sometime in the 40s. That was during I want to say mid to late 40s for Namor, and so Aquaman would have been after that. I think Aquaman might have been the 50s, but don't quote me on it. You might want to look it up. Ardent, 2037 for Aquaman. Oh, okay. So 2037. So what would have been his creation date? 37, 25 would have been 62? 62. That would have been 75 years. Alex at Ardent. She put up for adoption because of her stance on pineapple on pizza and is corrected by her new family who tell her it belongs there. Zing! Damn you. Ardent at Alex Ogle. Unfortunately, she's Swedish and goes far too far, putting bananas on there as well, creating deep tension within the family. So far, this movie sounds disgusting from a food standpoint. I'm not going to greenlight it until you change the food. All right. Moving on to number 5 is Homestead. This is from Angel Studios. This is the Neil McDonough movie about a guy who is a prepper. He sees that the United States is falling apart, so he builds a massive sort of estate, a prepper estate, to house, I don't know, people he likes. And then I think it's a series. No, I think it's a movie. So, it's one of these stories. Everybody runs to his house, and certain people get in, and certain people don't. And then it's about, well, do we have enough food for all the people coming to the gate, or do we have to feed them because we're super Christian or whatever? I mean, it's probably okay. It feels like more of a rental, as we used to say, but it looks fine. I mean, $6 million, that's not bad for Angel Studios. This probably didn't cost a good $1 jillion like all the other movies do these days. I'm glad Angel Studios is making films and making money. They seem like they're going to be the first guys to break through, probably to take over all the faith-based movies. Ardent, imagine a banana cream calzone. Well, if it was all banana cream, but you can't really make banana cream calzone because you have to cook a calzone, and you don't want to cook cream. That's not going to work. You don't really want to cook a banana cream. You make the filling, and then you sort of chill it like a Jello. So you cook the crust, but you make the pudding, and then you put it in there, and you kind of let it chill, and then you put the whipped cream on top, and then you let that chill. So it's more of a cold thing. I don't think it can work in a calzone. I don't think you can make a cold calzone. Alex, okay. Swedish Sydney Sweeney in a bikini has a series of accidents involving being covered in chocolate. Okay, add some whipped cream and you got a movie. Ardent, deal. Or was I thinking cannoli? Perhaps. A cannoli is a tube of pastry. It's kind of pastry. It's more crackery than pastry. That has a mixture of ricotta cheese and like sugar, and maybe there's some whipped cream on it. Maybe there's some chocolate chips in it. Depends on the flavor of the cannoli, and powdered sugar. Whereas a calzone is normally that's like a pizza turnover. Alex, there needs to be some good film releases. Friday Night Tights and Critical Drinkers are becoming a bit boring of late. Yeah, I've noticed that too. They don't really have anything to rail against. And this was a problem I talked about probably 2 years ago. Eventually, they wouldn't have anything to rail against. And, and I'm not knocking them. I watch both their channels, but they don't have much in the way of, I don't know, content in a lot of ways. Part of it is, I think for a Critical Drinker, who's very funny, his shtick was really good, but how many times can you listen to it, right? Like his shtick being drunk and everything. So he's trying to make that transition into more, I think, serious critic. But then he liked, what the hell did he like? Oh, he kind of liked Wicked. I thought, well, that's weird. But, he said it was a fine movie and he dug down into it. I didn't even see it, but, a lot of these guys are pretty good, but I don't know, they're not performers. So they kind of glom onto a thing that works for them for a while, but, like for instance, in the case of your boy Zach, he kind of just lost his mojo in a lot of ways. He keeps doing videos and God bless him, he keeps doing videos. But now his videos are very strange to me. I'm not exactly sure, where he's not really connecting with me anymore. And I kind of don't watch his videos, so. But I don't have any beef with the guy. He's just not connecting with me anymore. Like in the beginning, he was connecting. Now it's kind of Ardent, good gods, Italians just want everyone to be fat. Yes, we do. Ardent, yeah, hate watching only takes you so far, but I'd really rather a drinker fixes to a Friday Night Tights B session. Yeah, I could see that too. And quite frankly, there's just not enough time in the day to watch so many streams. I mean, some of these streams go 3, 4 hours. I don't know who watches them. I'm a huge fan of Razor Fist, but even I can't sit through a 6 hour, you know, session of him playing some game talking. I just can't. It's just too long. I mean, it's not bad. I'm not knocking it. It's just I got a life to lead. Sam Rogers. Hello, everyone. Hello, Sam. Good to see you. Arden says hello. I hope everybody's getting ready for Christmas. Let's see. What's next? Gladiator 2 drops from 4 to 6. 4.4 million. Did this movie make money? 416 million? Yeah, I think that's money. Yeah, that's money. 416. I can't imagine this thing's over 200 million. Ridley Scott is a better filmmaker. I don't think he's doing the Disney thing of blowing a bunch of money. So, I mean, this is definitely 100 million plus, probably 150, somewhere in there. So that's money, I think. Yeah, I think it's money. Ardent, LOL, Razor Fist. I can run the full depths of DS9 playlist weekly and not get bored. Oh, yeah, he's great on that kind of stuff too. I like it. I just, again, he's got so much content. My favorite videos of him are when he's ranting. I love the rants because they're nice and short and punchy, and that's what I have time for. Once in a while, a metal mythos is cool. But I don't dig metal as much as he does. Boy, he is like a metalhead. He is the master of metal, that guy. He really is. He knows video games and metal beyond anybody I've ever seen. And comics to a great degree. He's so well educated on his topics. It's very impressive. I'm always very impressed with his knowledge. LeMay, there is some guy who just dropped a 5-hour-long review video of a YA novel. Jesus, that sounds very long. Sam Rogers, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. Ardent, LOL, the FU, I was right chair spins are still amusing. Yes, although I think he's gotten away from cursing because he's getting a little more religious. So he doesn't say God effing speed anymore. He says Godspeed. So, and he's gotten mildly religious on his tweets, which I don't mind. As long as he doesn't start, preaching like too much. As long as he's entertaining, I don't care. So, yeah, he's getting away from the cursing though. Which is fine. I tried to get away from cursing too. I wanted to be not cursing guy because I used to curse a lot. I used to curse a whole lot, and so now I've gotten out of it, and I feel better. I feel better that I'm not cursing. Ardent. Speaking of religion, Mark Wahlberg is pushing a prayer app, so looks like you were right about the Christianity train. Oh yeah. Well, I'll give it to Mark Wahlberg, though. He was a little religious before this started. So he's one of the guys that's kind of ahead of the curve. He did that Priest movies. He said he was moving out of Hollywood to start his own Hollywood in Las Vegas. Although I think he moved back to L.A. I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to be in the new realm of... more pro-Christian or more trad, I'll say, Hollywood. He hasn't made the jump officially because he's still very bankable as an action star. He still looks, he's older, but he's not. He still looks like he could pass. He's not at that age where he has to play like the veteran guy, the guy who helps the younger guy. Although he kind of played that in Charted. But he's sort of getting there. He's like kind of right on the cusp. But to me, he could still. He did that movie with the dog, where they're running around and they're on the run, and then the dog helps them. I think it was called Arthur something something. Alex, the only 5 hours YouTubers I have time for are Tick's rants against socialism and the generously breasted ladies doing SMMR. ASMR. Yes, Tick. If you haven't gone to Tick's channel, he's very good. TIK. He does history stuff. He did a lot of videos on the big war, I can say, on YouTube, and not much else. And he's done some rants against socialism. He's very good too. He's very knowledgeable as well. Very knowledgeable. Learned a lot from him, actually. Some of the details. I had a friend back in my improv days. He was absolutely obsessed with the Great War. He could have made those videos. And he read everything about the war. Like every book he could get his hands on. And so he told me some very interesting stories that he had read. And so I think he would love that channel. Ardent, I can't avoid swearing as easily. It's part of the Newfoundland vernacular. We're all descended from sailors. I understand. I'm in New Jersey. Carter Chain, Mark Wahlberg has been a big Catholic for a while now. Mm-hmm. Yep. I think he's always been Catholic, but he wasn't, he wasn't super, like back in the day, he got into a lot of trouble. I want to say he killed a guy, but I don't think that's true, right? He didn't kill a guy, or was he involved in some crime that he got off on or something? Or am I thinking of his brother? But anyhow, he's very respectable guy now. He's got a line of hamburgers called Mark Wahlburgers. I swear that's true. You can see him in the supermarket here anyway. They're a little high end, so I don't normally buy them. They were on sale one time, and I think I bought them. They were okay. But it was just a weird sort of like, oh yeah, I'll do burgers because my last name is Wahlberg, and I'll call them Wahlburgers. It reminded me of Entourage, because they always said Entourage is sort of based on Mark Wahlberg's experiences, moving to Hollywood and everything. It felt like a very Entourage moment seeing Wahlburgers, because he's on the package with his friends cooking a burger. It's stupid. Ardent, there was a Wahlburgers reality show for a while. Think it was Spike TV? Oh, really? I guess they cooked. I like cooking shows. Well, because I like food, but they do make me hungry. But I do enjoy the shows. I gotta say, one of my guilty pleasures is I really enjoy Guy Fieri's Diners, Drives, and what is it? Diners, Drives, and Dives. No, Diners, Drive-Throughs, and Dives. That's a really good show. And he's done just about every restaurant in my area at one point or another. Carter Chain. Wahlburgers is a chain owned by the one not famous brother. So I guess that's not Donnie or Mark. So I guess there's another brother I don't know about. It's like the Murrays. So you got Bill Murray, Brian Doyle Murray, the other Murray that acts, whose name I always forget, the fat one, and then the fourth Murray brother who's not an actor. So it'd be like that. Ardent, I think it was his brother's burger joint chain, and then he took it off. Then it took off from Mark's involvement. Oh. Yeah, what Carter said as I was not looking while I was typing. Okay. All right, next up, dropping from 3 to 7 is Craven the Hunter, dropping 72% like a freaking stone. But this movie, we all knew, was doomed from the start. $42 million on a movie that cost, I gotta say, this movie probably cost over that. I mean, maybe not $100 million. A lot of it's outside. But I mean, they did a lot of CGI on the rhino, so maybe it's up around 100 million. But god dang it, Sony, what are you doing? And why announce that the villain universe? And I don't know why you would launch a villain universe. This was the word I read from Sony. Sony announces that the villain universe, the Sony Spider-Man villain universe, is dead. Like, they actually thought, well, we can launch the villains in their own universe and they never meet Spider-Man. Like, how dumb is that? That is dumb to me. Sam Rogers, I want to go to America and try the pizza, especially New York. Let me tell you something. New York pizza is fine. Now, it's New York style pizza, meaning it's nice and flat. But make sure you come to New Jersey because, quite frankly, I prefer our pizza. But then again, I live here. But yes, you want to get the flat pizza. Do not get that blasphemous, disgusting Chicago pizza. It's this thick stuff. It's gross. It's got terrible, terrible crust. Now, you can get yourself a nice Sicilian pizza. Now, yeah, that you got to order ahead of time. That's thicker, and it's the one that's like in a sheet. That's a Sicilian pie. It's thick, and it's in a sheet, a big square. So you should try that. New York does that pretty good job on that. But the New York style is flat and round with lots of cheese. I just had some tonight. I'm really full of pizza, so if I belch a lot, you know why. Yeah, and you got to, and there's Italians here. I mean, throw a stick and you'll hit an Italian in New York and New Jersey. So we do pizza really well. Like where I live, every town has a pizza joint, and it's pretty good. Like even the worst ones are still pretty good, and you could get decent pizza. Here's what you can get: they all make pizza, of course. They all make the variations in pizza: calzones, panzerottis, pizza turnovers, strombolis. Those are all variations on pizzas, like garlic knots with cheese on them, whatever you want. But then they also make Italian food. Almost every one of these places will make pasta, meatballs, sausage. They'll make, and then, the halfway will be like meatball sub sandwich, all that stuff. Cheesesteaks. You got to have a cheesesteak when you're here as well. Because you could really only get good cheesesteaks on the East Coast. Don't go to LA and have a cheesesteak. It's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. When I moved to LA, I was desperate for a cheesesteak. So I looked in the phone book, and I'm dating myself here. It was a long time ago. I looked in the phone book, and I found a place called Philly West in Santa Monica. And I went out to Philly West. I drove like an hour to get there. And I said, do you guys have cheesesteaks? And they had pictures of stuff from Philadelphia in the store. And they're like, yes. I'm an expat from Philadelphia and I make cheesesteaks. I'm like, oh God, thank God. Give me a cheesesteak. And it was one of the worst cheesesteaks I ever had. And there were a bunch of other expats from Philly, or the Philly area. And we're all sitting around eating our cheesesteaks. And we were all saying the same thing. This is a terrible cheesesteak. Oh yeah, this is terrible. So I'll see you here next week. Oh yeah, I'll be back. Because that's how much we love cheesesteaks. Ardent, I wonder if the internet will do the Morbius thing again and trick Sony into releasing. Was it really the internet that tricked them, or is it just, the stupidity of executives? Because again, they have this giant IP book, and they own all the IP, or they're renting the IPs in this case, and they just flip through it and figure, oh well, these comic geeks love this stuff, right? Any one of them is the same as the other. No. That's why you need a comic book guy to tell you, no, don't do a Craven movie. No one will go see it. LeMay, cake pizza. That's exactly what it is. The Chicago style pizza is cake pizza. You don't want it. It's terrible. I went to, they told me, the top of the line Chicago place when I was out near Chicago for the big expo out there for comics. They're like, oh, we got to go to this place. It's the best place for the Chicago style pizza. I'm like, I hate Chicago style pizza. No, 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 you'll like this one. It was terrible. Arden. There was a place in the capital here that used to make amazing pizza, loads and loads of toppings, really fluffy crust, just wonderful. Turned out the guy was using the joint to money launder. That's because he's in the mafia, and mafia guys know how to make pizza too. In fact, there's a hilarious story online about a guy. He said, I went into a pizza shop in Rhode Island, and it was a front for the mafia, but he didn't know it. And he said it was just full of these Italian guys, and they looked at me like I was crazy when I ordered the pizza. But they made the pizza, and it took 45 minutes for them to make the pizza. And they gave it to me, and they didn't even charge me any money. And he said I took it home, and it was the best pizza I ever had. So it was a bunch of Italian guys just making it on the fly, because and mafia guys have these places. They have fronts, right? So down in South Philly, where the mafia exists, allegedly, although there's really no mafia, they had a coffee shop on Passyunk Ave. And one time, Action News, the local affiliate here, went to go interview Skinny Joey Merlino, who at that time they say might have been the boss of the South Philly mob, or he was like the Tony Soprano figure. He was technically in control, but he technically wasn't the boss, I think. Anyhow, they went to interview him, and the woman who was interviewing him asked for a cup of coffee, and they had no coffee in the shop. See, that's how you know it's kind of a mob place. Because the mob guys take over places, but they're not taking them over to run them. They take them over because now they own them, and the guys who used to own them, well, they're not there anymore. Or so I've been told, if the mafia existed, which it doesn't. Arden, he was running hose out the back. Yeah, a lot of them do that too. Which again, is why you gotta be very wary. People in organized crime are very dangerous. Carter, you have to try Detroit style pizza. It's okay. I mean, it's a sheet pizza, right? That's the sheet one. It's kind of close. It's kind of halfway between a Sicilian and a tomato pie. That's all right. Tomato pie is another one you should try, Sam. Tomato pie is delicious. It's different, though. Tomato pie, classically, is a round pizza. It's a little thicker, but it's very thick on the sauce. And it's not a lot of cheese. It'll have Parmesan on it instead of the mozzarella. But the sauce is amazing. So, if you get an opportunity to try the tomato pie, that's a real Italian place. Only the most very Italian places will make tomato pie. And like if you say tomato pie and you're in a pizza place and they look at you like you're crazy, that's not a real Italian place. But if you say tomato pie to the guy behind the counter and he goes, "Oh, you want tomato pie?" "Oh yeah." Then you're in a real Italian place. Or at least if he knows what it is. Ardent, love a cheesesteak? Ardent, nah, there was a massive meme campaign that got It's Morbin Time trending and got it back into the cinemas. I still miss that pizza, though. Well, yeah, it got back into the cinemas, but, I mean, no, still nobody really saw it. They shouldn't make these movies. What they needed to do is what DC did do. The one smart thing DC did is they made the Batman movie. They introduced the Penguin, the Colin Farrell Penguin, and then they spun off from that. Because at least we knew who the Penguin was, and Colin Farrell was so good in the role. I mean, I watched the entire run of the Penguin. It's pretty good, except for the last episode, I would say. Pretty good. But it's really, the whole show is carried by Colin Farrell. That guy can act the hell out of anything. Holy cow. And that makeup. Just amazing. Just amazing. But if they'd done something similar for Craven, right? So you could have imagined, and I said this in another video, if he was the sidekick or the backup guy for Jake Gyllenhaal from the last Spider-Man movie, right? So he's Mysterio, but he's got Craven sort of as his guy in the background, sort of helping him. Maybe he's getting some, I don't know, he's acquiring certain things that he needs for his various illusions or whatever. And in the end of the movie, you see something where Craven maybe betrays him or tries to help him, but Spider-Man, tricks him or whatever, and then he escapes, and then maybe there's a little vignette where Craven takes off and he vows to come back, but he needs to take care of other business, whatever it is. Then you could have led into a Craven movie that maybe some people would have been interested in, as opposed to like, oh, Craven, you all know Craven, right? Well, I know him because I'm a big Spider-Man comic fan, and I read Craven, and I read The Death of Craven. So, yeah, but you have to do him as Craven. He was only there because of Spider-Man. That's it. That's the only reason he was there. They didn't start a Craven comic and then said, oh, he'd make a good villain for Spider-Man. No, it was Spider-Man, and then Craven shows up, and it's like, oh my God, here's another guy Spider-Man has to fight. You need to have good guys as your main character. Craven's not a good guy. This is my problem with the Penguin. They did too much with him. If you're going to make these guys the main character, you have to give them enough of a redeeming quality that you can root for them. And I think that's where the Penguin fails, and I suspect that's probably where Kraven the Hunter fails. I don't know. I didn't see it. But if you're not having any intention of the villains meeting Spider-Man, then what the hell are you doing? The whole point of this should have been to build up to a Spider-Man Kraven movie, a Spider-Man Venom movie, a Spider-Man Morbius movie. Like, if you weren't going to do that, then you were just wasting everybody's time. These aren't IPs that can stand on their own. Morbius maybe could have, if they had done it right, and they screwed it up. I think Jared Leto was a poor choice. Indie Phantom is here. Hey-oh, late but here. Welcome. Merry Christmas. Yeah, how many days we got until Christmas? Just a few more. 2 more days until Christmas Eve. And the Feast of the Seven Fishes for you Italians. Indie Phantom. Sony dropped the ball. Yep, in every possible way. At one point, they were trying to develop the Tarantula, who I think did become a sidekick of Spider-Man's for a while, and he was kind of a superhero. I think he got superpowers later. He was like the wrestler, and then he becomes a superpowered guy later or something. Maybe? Indie Phantom. Jared Leto is a bad idea. Yeah, guess what they just casted him as? The rumor is he's going to be Skeletor. Now, in my book, the He-Man movie is a terrible idea in general. Merry Christmas to all, says Indie Phantom. I think the He-Man movie is a dumb idea. Especially now. It was never a great idea. But now, like, how many times are you going to do this? How many He-Man have we had? We had the original cartoon. Then we had a 2000 cartoon. Then the Kevin Smith one, which was kind of a fiasco. There was another one that came out right around the same time that nobody knew about, which was kind of woke, but it was more for little kids. They had the Dolph Lundgren movie. I mean, maybe you could do a sequel to that. People would come out for Dolph, but... Ardent, tomorrow is Tibbs Eve in Newfoundland. Traditionally, the night adults get together, also known as Tipsy Eve, for obvious reasons. Oh, I'd never heard of that. Tibbs Eve. Now, is there a guy named Tibbs that this is named after? Alex Ogle, hello at Indie Phantom, and a Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas, says Ardent. Ardent, Dolph. Indie Phantom, hey Ardent. Alex, Merry Christmas. Alex, every evening is Tipsy Evening on Newfie time. You being half an hour off. Ardent, Frank Langella as Skeletor was such a strange choice. Yeah, I mean, from an acting standpoint, he can do evil. He's a good actor for that, but he was kind of too old for it. I don't know who you could get as Skeletor. He's a very strange character because of his look. So you either got to go all the way and make Skeletor look like Skeletor, in which case you're not going to have any eyes. You're going to have a bone face and a bodybuilder's body. So it's got to be all in the voice. Ha ha ha, He-Man! Ardent, Tibbs Eve was originally a West Country English thing, I believe. Not sure if there was a man named Tib or not. It may have been a bastardization of another term. Sam Rogers, we need new IPs. I applaud you, Sam Rogers. Yes. Yes, we do need new IPs. I'm sick of talking about these IPs. Indie Phantom, Celine Dion for Skeletor. Oh, that's mean, man. She's in bad shape. Ardent at Sam Rogers, indeed. Yeah, I mean, I cannot applaud that enough. We need new IPs so badly. We need new IPs and comedy movies. That's it. That's all I want to see from Hollywood for like the next 10 years. Nothing but new. But, I mean, the upside of going down Broadway, there's a bunch of Broadway shows that have never been turned into movies, I'm sure, that might make halfway decent movies. So, at least for the theater crowd that seems to come out for Wicked. Alex, at Ardent, I'm going back to my family in Devon. I never heard of Tibbs Eve, but my parents were remarkably temperate. Saying that correctly, I think. All right. Speaking of franchises, Lord of the Rings, The War of Rohirrim. This was a very unnecessary movie. Ardent, I do like that the established critics are talking up the bright and positive aspects of the new Gunn Superman. Yeah, but even Superman, too. I'm so sick of him. Sam Rogers, and not everything needs to be live action, something more suitable for animation. Yeah, and if you're going to do animation, do 2D. 2D is fine. LeMay, have you ever heard of Hundreds of Beavers? I want to watch it. I have heard of that movie. It looks very good. I'm waiting for it to hit streaming. I don't think it hit streaming yet. It's nominated for an Oscar. I know that. I hear it's great. It looks very, very cool. But the Lord of the Rings, The War of Rohirrim, no. It looks like woke Lord of the Rings. 1.2 million in its second week, also dropping 72%. That is a flop and a half in my book. It started at 5, now it is down at 8. $15 million? What, are you kidding me? Oofa. Now this is animated, probably costs at least $50 million, so this ain't making money, I don't think. Indie Phantom, I miss crapping on Mufasa. Speaking of old IP, yeah, I mean, crap on it all you want, but, you know, it's the realism that kills it for me. Too much realism in that. Ardent at Alex Ogle, nice. My people came, I think, from Devonshire, though I'm not 100% on that. If you run into any parties, ask them about Mummering and Tibbs Eve. Might need to ask the oldest guys. We have a Mummers Parade in Philadelphia. And it's supposed to be sort of like Mardi Gras, kinda. That happens in New Year's. It's so popular here, we even have a Mummers Museum. And they have the parade on New Year's. And it's very popular. And there's all sorts of prizes and whatnot. And the bands spend all year making costumes and practicing. And they're like marching bands. And then they do a second performance down 2 Street, which is 2nd Ave in Philadelphia, where all the Mummers clubs are. And then it's like chaos. Like, because all the Mummers are like firemen and policemen, it turns into like Mardi Gras on 2 Street with no cops and to bother you. So people are like drinking on the street and they're doing all kinds of crazy things. I had a friend who lived on 2nd Street. He told me to come out for that one year. It was nuts. It was just crazy. Ardent, yeah, Philly mummering is not the same as Newfoundland mummering. Oh, okay. Ardent, let me link you a music video. Be right back. Alex, turns out Tibbs Eve is Cornish expression for a time that never comes. Oh, weird. That sounds like there's a time travel movie in that. Yeah, you could call it Tibbs Eve. It's about some sort of supernatural time travel thing where people are trapped in time. That'd be cool. All right. Oh, and there's the link. Let's see. I'm going to turn the sound off just to look at it. Oh, it's like a documentary on Tibbs Eve. Oh, this is old school. What the? They're all wearing strange masks. Oh, weird. This is very different. This is very different. Are they robbing these people? Okay. That looks cool. Ardent, my great aunt Janet played Granny. Oh, okay. The band is called Simoni. Oh, neat. Oh, so there's a band coming up. All right. So there's a band later in this. Oops, what's going on there? So I guess they play music at some point in this video. Oh, it looks like they're having fun. Whoops. It looks like fun. My great aunt Janet played Granny. Oh, wow. Huh. Neat. All right, moving on to number... this is number 9, staying at number 9, the best Christmas pageant ever. It's a Judy Greer movie. Ardent, it's actually a music video combined with a documentary. LOL, no robbery, but mummering is technically illegal due to a vigilante justice incident. Oh, interesting. Hey, you got an interesting history with the mummering. I'll have to check that out. In the 1700s. Wow. That goes back. That goes back a ways. So the best Christmas pageant ever. This is a Judy Greer movie, which I think did initially okay. It's in its 7th week. I mean, 38 million. Probably not too bad for a movie that is basically just a family movie. So, not really much on the international market. Australia and New Zealand. You wouldn't release this in England? Why wouldn't you release this in England? It's about Christmas. I think you should. I think you made a mistake. You should have released that in the UK. Number 10 is Queer. Ardent at Alex Ogle. LOL, I absolutely destroyed the Newfoundlander drunken stereotype. I'm all but teetotaler. Queer has made 2.8 million. It's in its 4th week. This is a movie they're trying very hard to push for an Oscar. So this just isn't... Again, I don't think there's a big enough audience for this. This is based on a William S. Burroughs story about his gay lover. I just don't think there's enough of an audience for it. And what are you going to do? I mean, look, Hollywood is just utterly obsessed with everything LGBTQ, and it's completely blinded them to the potential audience for stories like this. It's kind of graphic, so it turns people away. It just turns people away. It's not... Look, you can sell a romance, a straight romance, to a gay audience. Now, the gay audience it's going to be smaller, but they enjoy that classic stuff a lot of times. But the opposite just doesn't work. it's never really worked. There's a certain amount of population might go see it, straight population, but it doesn't translate as well. It just doesn't. I mean, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna keep making these movies until you go broke, I guess. I don't know. They're pouring money into this thing. There's no way this thing costs less than $3 million. Daniel Craig's in it. So I guess they're just gonna keep making this until they finally say, okay, Uncle. Ardent at Alex Ogle. I don't have an issue with Sydney in a bikini, but she might in Newfoundland. Even in high summer, it doesn't get what most of you call warm. Sam Rogers. I clicked on that YouTube link. I do not know what I was watching. Alex, Tony will go up to my comment he missed to find out why we're talking DC Who. Huh? Did I miss one? Oh, I'm sorry. Doctor Who. I'm sorry, I missed your comment. Pitch. Doctor Who cast as a newfie with all the drinking and incomprehensible language, and Sydney Sweeney in a bikini as a sidekick. Twist. They always arrive at the location half an hour off. Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that. Anything's better than the current Doctor Who. Oh my God. Another example where, the BBC is chasing this mysterious gay audience that just doesn't exist. Ardent at Sam Rogers. Traditional Newfoundland music. So, at some point, I think they're going to get the message. But I think you're going to see this movie push very hard at the Oscars, if you bother to watch the Oscars. I know I don't bother to watch it anymore. Next up, premiering around 11, The Brutalist. This is an Adrian Brody movie. Ardent, half an hour off and 10 degrees to starboard at Alex Ogle. So The Brutalist, it looks like a biopic, but it's actually, I eventually figured out it's an original movie, but it kind of looks like a biopic. It definitely takes place in the 50s. About an immigrant who Adrian Brody's like an Italian immigrant, and he comes here, and it turns out he's also an architect. And Guy Pearce brings him out of doing a mining job to be an architect, and but then he belittles him. It's a weird thing. I'm not sure. It could be good. I mean, it looks very rich. The cinematography and the time period piece. I just don't know why you would bother to go to all the trouble to find an architect in a coal mine, help him out, build him up, and then bring him to your house and belittle him in the middle of dinner. It just seems odd, but maybe they make it work in the movie. It is Guy Pearce. He's a good actor. So we'll see. Sam Rogers. Ardent Party interesting. Alex Ogle. The BBC can fund stupid ventures because of the unique way they are funded. Unfortunately, or fortunately, more and more people are stopping paying their license. You got a license for that TV? Yes. I think everybody should stop licensing TV in the BBC. Why even watch TV anymore? I got rid of my TV. I couldn't, and I've never looked back. Can't you just get all kinds of stuff on the internet like I can? I'm pretty sure you can in the UK. Seems like you should starve the beast. And then maybe the BBC will either go private or they'll fix it. I don't know. Ardent at Sam Rogers. Their accents are very regional. From a town called Bellaorum. About an hour and a half drive and an hour's sail from where I live. Oh, neat. So it's actually closer by boat. Yeah, so I don't know about The Brutalist. Again, it feels like Oscar bait, but it does have a good cast, so it might be good. Might be good. I can kind of see somewhat of an audience for that, but we'll see. Next up is Flow from Janus Films. This is in its 5th week. It's a cartoon about a cat. It's a foreign film. It's also up for an Oscar. Next up, A Real Pain in its 8th week. This is Macaulay Culkin's brother and Jesse Eisenberg finally back in the kind of movie he should be in. $217,000 going out of theaters. Honora, which I might catch on streaming. It's a love story, but again, it's the actress who sort of poo-pooed the intimacy coordinators in its 10th week. This is also getting some Oscar buzz. Sam Rogers at Ardent. That's cool. Ardent at Sam Rogers. Other good Newfoundland music. Jim Fiddler. Great Big Sea. Irish Descendants. The Rolling Kings. All on YouTube. Oh, wow. Didn't realize there was such a music scene in Newfoundland. We have a bit of a music scene in the Pines. There is Piney music, which you can also look up on YouTube. Songs about the Jersey Devil and living in the Pines. They're kind of country like hillbilly music kind of stuff. So it's pretty good. I like some of it. Ardent, no, that's a combined drive and sail. Just driving would be 8 hours maybe. Oh my God. That is far. That is very far then. Next up is Conclave. This is that Vatican movie. I don't think this movie did so well. 31 million. Let's see. 38 million altogether. Yeah. I don't think this thing costs less than 50, but who knows? I don't know why Hollywood keeps bashing religion and then they do a religious movie. They're really going to lose out on that, by the way. Like, if you're religious, are you going to go see a religious movie by Angel Studios, or are you going to go see one by Hollywood? I mean, maybe if you bring back Mel Gibson to direct the sequel to The Passion of the Christ, which I think he's doing, right? I vaguely remember him doing that. Indie Phantom, rockabilly. Yeah, Piney music really isn't rockabilly, but I do like rockabilly. Ardent, music is massive here. Kitchen parties are still a thing. BYOB and I, booze and instruments. Oh, cool. Alex Ogle, oh wow. That Mummers song from Ardent is a bizarre mix of Irish and Devonshire. Oh, neat. I'll have to play that later. I can't play it on the stream. Indie Phantom, Conclave is pure Oscar baity. Yeah, look that way. Ardent, Alex at Alex. Oh yeah, Newfoundland tradition is basically British fusion. Oh, neat. Indie Phantom, the ending bashes religion. I'm not surprised, because a lot of people were saying it's sort of like Hollywood's version of the Vatican, and then like tries to push like woke Catholicism. But then again, the real Pope seems to be doing that, so who am I to judge? All We Imagine as Light. What is that one? Is that... No, that's a foreign film. I'm not familiar with that. Made $1 million, maybe more, because it looks like an Indian flick. Nickel Boys. I don't understand what the Nickel Boys is. This is the 2nd week. I watched the trailer, and I was going to do a trailer analysis, but I can genuinely tell you I'm very confused to what it's about. I think it's a POV movie of some boys growing up. They're black, and it's... I don't know if it's really about racism, but it's kind of hard to tell what it's about. I think it's just about 2 boys growing up. But Amazon made it. Not doing super well in the theaters. It's only been in 5 theaters. So I don't know if it's getting a wide release or what. Usually they do 1 week in like 2 or 5 theaters and then push it harder in the following weeks to let the numbers go up to give the illusion that everybody's watching this thing. But I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do that or not. Maybe they didn't get the distribution. The Wild Robot still in theaters is in the 13th week. Jesus. I think that's done. September 5th. This is in its second week, dropping 54%. Oh, this is a Paramount Plus thing. Yeah, it's another thing. They just, I guess it was more for the streaming service, and then they dropped it in theaters. Sam Rogers, there's only one religion they bash. It's true. Ardent. Well, I mean, I think they bash Christians in general. That's a lot of religions when you, technically, but sure. Ardent, Pope Frank the commie approves. Alex, can we expect a rash of woke movies as offerings to the Oscars so the scribbling classes can complain they aren't progressive enough? I don't know. I mean, this year's going to be weird because this is sort of the year that woke finally started to die. So on the one hand, it's no longer trendy to be woke. Like that, it's definitely jumped the shark and everybody can kind of feel that. But on the other hand, all this stuff is in the pipeline years ahead of time. So not only are we getting a bunch of woke movies now that are, contenders for the Oscars, we still got a bunch in the pipeline we haven't even seen yet. Some of which they can't change, right? Because they already shot them, they're already edited, they're just waiting to release them. I mean, one example is probably the Captain America 4 movie, which, I mean, Anthony Mackie is denying that they reshot the thing too many times. I think they reshot it 4 times. I read like 4 different announcements. But, so I think they're scrambling to remove a lot of the woke stuff in some of these movies, but I don't think they could release or fix too many of them. And their version of what is woke and not woke, I think varies greatly from what we would consider woke and not woke. Like some stuff, and I know that, coming up in like the 80s and 90s and 2000s, I could see the progression looking back on it now. So they could roll it back, right? But they'll only roll it back to maybe the early 2000s, maybe. And even that would probably be a huge a jump for Hollywood. So I don't even think they're going to roll it back that much. I think they're probably going to roll it back to like 2014 woke, which is still kind of woke. It's just you really didn't see it right in your face. Where they need to roll it back to the 80s, but that's not going to happen. I think that's eventually going to happen. We'll get it at least rolled back to the 2000s, maybe the 90s. But I don't think we'll go back to the 80s. But you never know. Oh, boy. I missed a lot of comments. Ardent. Hardcore Henry was a first-person perspective movie. It was an interesting concept, like an extended form of the segment from Doom with The Rock. Yes, I saw Hardcore Henry. I didn't mind it. It's not a good movie, but it's interesting to watch because of that perspective. Indie Phantom sounds woke. Will avoid. Sam Rogers got something redacted. Indie Phantom. Oh, yeah, I remember the trailer for Hardcore Henry. Sam Rogers. Yes, Christianity in general. It was never trendy to be what I think he meant woke. Alex, you had the right word in your retracted comment at Sam Rogers. Denominations. One religion, many denominations. Oh, okay. Ardent at Indie. It had a music video from a band called Biting Elbows, Russian punk. The title is Bad MFer, my personal theme song when I feel down. Sam Rogers. Maybe it was in certain circles. Alex. Had the right. Kite. Oh, they aren't removing anything. They're trying to hide it better. Yeah, you're probably right. 2 points of reference. Game Mass Effect 5 devs said, paraphrase, don't release the game woke. We'll add it with updates in the DLC. Ardent, I want comedy Tom roll back to the 70s. I want comedy to roll back to the 70s. Yeah, me too. Sam Rogers, yes, I understand the the extinction or the distinction? I'm using speech to text. Oh, okay. Kite, 2 point, is something called Bridge Initiative. A VTuber called Kirsch has been bringing light to it, but they openly state they need to make DEI sneakier again. Yes, Bob Iger said that a few months ago, if I recall. Sam Rogers never quite says what I really. Oops. Don't worry, Sam. It's fine. It's fine. Don't sweat it. Yeah. So September 5th is basically Munich, done by Paramount. So I guess they're trying to throw it out to the theaters, maybe to qualify for an Oscar. I don't know. The Count of Monte Cristo. Wow, I didn't know they were doing this again. From Samuel Goldman. Okay. I mean, this is a classic story. Le Comune de Monte Cristo. So this looks like they are doing it in Spanish. Historical fiction. All right. And The Seed of the Sacred Fig was the Iranian movie in its 4th week. This is also more Oscar stuff. This is in the queue to be nominated for an Oscar as well. Sam Rogers. Bye, everyone. Great stream. Thanks for stopping in, Sam. Have a Merry Christmas. Ardent. At Kite, I've been watching Kirsch since Spoon was on with her. LOL. See ya, Sam. Merry Christmas again. Ardent. French. Oh, it's French. So 140 million for the box office this weekend. That's not bad. Next week, though, should be interesting because that'll be, I guess that'll be the Christmas weekend? Or is this the Christmas weekend? I guess this technically is the Christmas weekend. Because if we were going to take a day off or two, I would take Monday and Tuesday and make it a 5-day weekend. Rather than, well, I guess you could take Thursday and Friday and make it a 5-day weekend that way. Either way. Alex at Sam Rogers. Bye, everyone. A great stream. I'll have 2. Kite at Ardent. She is very knowledgeable and brings light to the youth. She's on Twitch, I assume. Ardent. Comte is Count in French. Love the Caviezel Pierce version. Ardent at Kite. The jiggle physics on her avatar is hilarious. Yes, so this is a good box office for this weekend. So, yeah, I would expect to get more musicals. I mean, Mufasa, I think, is a musical too, right? Because didn't they sing songs in The Lion King? Wouldn't there be songs in that one too? So, and Moana has songs in it. I guess we're going to get more and more. You know what it is? They also want to promote these movies overseas. And all the Indian movies are at least part musical. So I think they probably want more musicals just so they could maybe pimp it to India as well. I don't totally mind it, except I hate most of the music. Like if you were going to do cool music that I could get into, maybe. Like I like the music in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, even though it's kind of a terrible movie, but at least the music's good. Kite at Ardent. She did it on purpose, like jingling keys in front of someone. LOL. Ardent. LOL worked on me. Alex. The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas, as the funny line in Shawshank goes. All right, let's check the trades. First up, we got Fandom Pulse. Fandom Pulse. Mark Hamill admits being terminally online during election made him crazy and ignored his daughter's advice to stop spamming political tweets. Yeah, I have to admit that it's been many years since I got too deep in the internet, but there was a time I was a little too internet-y. But, you know, I think everybody goes through that. I'm not sure when Mark started to get online, but, like, I feel like it's a phase everybody goes through. Like, first you get on the internet, and then you make some really bad mistakes, and you kind of don't understand why people are mad at you. And then you kind of get mad at people, and then you go off for like a week, and then you come back figuring out, like, oh, okay. Like, you ask your friends some questions, and then you go, oh, okay, now I understand. And then you go back, and then you get really deep into the internet, and that's where you get sort of sucked in and make a huge mistake. Where you, like, when I say huge, I mean, like, you end up in a stupid argument where you say something really, really dumb that you regret, and then you're like, oh, I wish I hadn't said that, kind of thing. Indie Phantom. Mufasa is a failed musical. Elton John is pissed they didn't call. Oh, right. Did he do the Lion King music? I guess he did. Kite. Tony Kirsch is also on YouTube. She has a whole folder talking about Bridge and their smart beliefs, or smart briefs, as well as other stuff. Wouldn't surprise me if she made a few people vote Trump by bringing light. Good for her. Kite, to Democrat shenanigans. Alex Ogle. And I'll say this. It sounds to me, and I don't know anything about Kirsch or what she's talking about with the bridge, but the term bridge, that sounds very suspicious to me. Like, smart briefs. See, like, that sounds to me like they're like a Marxist like term. That, yeah, that sounds like something, because it sounds like James Lindsay says, you always have to be wary of certain words like transformative and transformation and stuff like that. Bridge, I want to say bridge was one of the words, or that seems to be a word that ends up in their orbit. So yeah, so probably she's warning about some good stuff. I mean, some bad stuff, and doing it in a good way. Alex, Mark Hamill just needs to admit that he's crazy, full stop. I think his daughter gave him good advice. Get off the internet. Stop doing this to yourself. He doesn't need to do this. Like, if you're a nobody and you crave attention, that's one thing. Mark Hamill's already famous and rich. Why is he doing this? He's only hurting himself. He can never win an internet argument. That's, I guess, what you have to accept. You'll never win an internet argument, Mark. So stop arguing with people. And there's no point in him arguing with anybody. He's a celebrity. People used to love him. I remember when he appeared on The Simpsons, and I was just, like, so excited. Everybody talked about it that week. Like, holy cow. Did you see Hamill on The Simpsons? Oh, my God, it was so funny. Now I question everything he does. Now I see him and go, oh, this guy. Like, why did he do that to himself? He had such a great rep. Even up till, I'll say, 2 years ago, his rep was great. You know, he had given them mild resistance during the whole Last Jedi thing. Fans were still behind him. Now it's like, dude, and now I got to hear you? No. Now if I saw him at a con, I'd be like, I got to avoid him. Ardent, would we call Mark nutty? Maybe. Indie Phantom, Mark Hamill is in his own echo chamber rambling in Joker voice. Yeah, kinda. Ardent, but Tony, I am a nobody that craves attention. Well then, your mission is clear. Kite, as per their own site, Belonging, representation, inclusion, diversity, and equity. Bridge is an acronym for these constructs. Oh, okay, yeah, that's definitely Marxism then. Ardent, people loved him for his calling out of the Last Jedi bullishes. Yeah, he had the fans behind him, and he kind of dropped it for politics, and it was a dumb idea. It'll take him many years to get it back, and I don't think he has those years. LeMay, I heard J.K. Rowling is writing a murder mystery series, and when I read the blurb, it made me think she stayed on Twitter for far too long. Yeah, somebody was given an evaluation of J.K. Rowling, and I forget who it was, but she is very left-wing, but people think she's based because she finally drew a line at the transgender thing, but she's not very based at all. So that's probably true. She's done pretty well with that series, though. Kite, oh, I should have included the whole thing because you called it. No worries. Gears of War executive producer explains why AAA games are in trouble in the wake of Dragon Age: The Veilguard. I mean, they're all in trouble because of this DEI crap, I think. Multiple stores announced their discontinuation of Games Workshop and Warhammer 40,000 products. There you go. You shot yourself in the foot, and now you're wondering why you're limping around bleeding all over the place. These guys had one of the most successful business in games, and they threw it all away for what? For what? For what? Why would you throw away a steady business like Warhammer? I remember Warhammer 40K when I was in high school playing Dungeons and Dragons. That's how old it is. I mean, you're talking like 40 years of this stuff. And you can't spend a little bit of money playing Warhammer 40K. Once you get into it, you're going to spend a lot of money. You're going to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars buying the figures. Now you got guys looking for the exit. You got guys who are probably selling off their figures, selling off their equipment, looking for another game, if they're looking for another game at all. Why would you do this to yourselves? And this is like the complete collapse, I would call, of Games Workshop. And these guys were based back in the day. Oh, back in the day when I was playing Dungeons and Dragons still in the 90s, I would get a Games Workshop, an old Games Workshop magazine. It was called White Dwarf. That was their version of Dragon magazine. And they would have Dungeons and Dragons stuff still in the back of it. They would have like a D&D module, and their D&D modules kicked major ass because they were not shy about putting in stuff like human sacrifices and all sorts of nitty-gritty stuff that wasn't in the regular D&D stuff at the time. Oh, but White Dwarf, they'd put it in. They'd put it in. And they'd put in a really graphic description of some horrible torture chamber or whatever. It was badass. They put in custom-made magic items you couldn't get anywhere else. I had a copy of a White Dwarf I had gotten. I ran the adventure in it where the characters, they ended up killing this vampire and taking over his castle and living there. And for years, we used that map, you know, because the characters were constantly using the castle for their own, you know, headquarters. Ardent, a lot of X40K players are going to Mech Warrior. Sure. I could totally see that. They haven't completely screwed up that game, although they tried. Razor Fist held the line on that, by the way. He was one of the guys. I'm not sure. I guess there were a bunch of guys who joined him in the fight. But it seems like the guys in Warhammer 40K just rolled over for Hollywood or whoever. Whatever forces in the background promised them a big giant pile of money. I am speculating. But dumb move. Now, they might get it back when Henry Cavill's thing comes out. But is it woke? Are we finally going to see Henry do something woke, or are they gonna? Is it going to be legit? They're trying to add female characters to the thing. Apparently, the rumor was that after Henry got a hold of Warhammer license, they wanted to jam in some female characters, the female custodes. I don't play the game, so I don't know all the details. But the female custodes, in order to make them major characters in the game, so they could put them in the show. But I think that was a huge mistake. Ardent, indeed, God bless the gatekeepers of the Iron Age. Bravo, Iron Age. I got to get reconnected with those guys. I made some announcements early on. I got to get back. Kite, the problem is nerd went mainstream. Whilst lots of the nerds that went to run companies for nerd stuff because they felt different, but now they aren't, now claim trans and push ideology. Yeah, they were vulnerable to it too, because a lot of people in the fan community, they want to be, they, the whole woke thing preys on people's niceness. That's what's so insidious about it. And this is why women tend to fall for it more than men. It's because women tend to be more nurturing, and they want, it's like the old mom thing. Oh, I want everybody to get along. And in gaming communities were always very welcoming. Like if you wanted to learn and play a game, people would welcome you into the community and teach you how to play the game. There was never any problem with that. But when the woke stuff happened and the DEI stuff happened, that preyed upon that. And so you brought in these people, these DEI people, whatever you want to call them, and they got in, and immediately they started working their Marxist magic, excluding people or forcing them to acknowledge things that make no sense. So for instance, one of the big arguments on X for a while was, can you have disabled people in Dungeons and Dragons? Which makes zero sense, right? So they would have these characters, they'd have illustrations of them in a wheelchair, going into dungeons, casting spells. It makes zero sense. Why does it make zero sense? Well, if you've played the game, you know that clerics can cure things like that, number one. So you're no longer paralyzed, and so you don't need a wheelchair. Number two, even if you couldn't cure the paralyzation or the disabled thing, you could get a magic item that would essentially counter it, right? You could get a ring of flying, and then you just would hover around. You could get a ring of levitation, and you would just float around. You could get, I don't know, you could make a custom-made magic ring that would just allow you to walk and run. I mean, it makes zero sense to have a person in a wheelchair. Like, zero sense. Now, that doesn't mean somebody couldn't have done that and made it somehow make sense, but it would have been so unusual and so bizarre to have that in a game at any kind of level, like, oh yeah, you find a magic wheelchair +4. That doesn't make any sense. There wouldn't be enough disabled people in a magical universe for there to even be this kind of magic. It just makes zero sense. Indie Phantom, too many beta nerds thought wokeness was a way to get laid. Well, yeah, that's a factor too. Kite, well, when you grow up different and wanting to be normal or left alone, but then suddenly everything you were hated for is normal, you want to make sure nobody can have what you had. It's spite. Yeah, this is some of that too. It's just amazing, because I remember doing it was a Zoom call at a comic convention or a gaming convention, and I got into some conversation. We were just on the cusp of like talking LGBTQ stuff, and I don't remember what I said, but I said something that was kind of close to being based. It could have been interpreted either way, because I was kind of wary of it, but I kind of wasn't totally too clued in yet. And almost immediately, the Zoom call, which was going nowhere and we hardly had any people on, immediately got flooded with people. And I could sense that they were checking the language in the chat because the person that was hosting it was trans. And then, of course, I revealed that I have a friend who's trans, and then I was okay. And then the tension immediately ratcheted way down. And but I could sense then, like, oh man, they were like ready to pounce upon me the moment I said something that they thought was too off-putting. Ardent, if someone is disabled in a Dungeons and Dragons, it means the gods hate them. Yeah, pretty much. Alex, to gain admission to a based activity, you should be posed one question only. Are you a dog or cat person? The only acceptable answer is the Jimmy Carr response. They both taste the same to me. Alex, nice. Kite, dungeons, not wheelchair accessible dragons. Don't care that if you are mentally ill, you are meat. Yes. Alex Ogle, I prefer his vegan options. Make do or F off. Yeah, I mean, like, can you imagine, like, going up? I mean, I can think of a million ways to kill a character in a disabled wheelchair. The first thing I would do is cast a heat metal on him. He'd be screwed because he can't get out of the chair. My chair. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. What I would do if I had a player like that, I'd be like, yeah, you can make a disabled character if you want. Good luck funding your wheelchair. Because starting money, probably you'd spend all the money on the wheelchair, just about. I don't know how you're going to be a thief in a wheelchair. I don't know how you're going to be a warrior in a wheelchair. I don't know how you're going to be. And then I would say, okay, you get to the steps of the dungeon, and you'd be like, steps. Yeah, I guess you need two characters to carry up there. What else are you gonna do? Like, I'd make it so inconvenient for them. I wouldn't even have to. I mean, that's most dungeons, right? I don't see any advantage of having a disabled guy in a Dungeons and Dragons adventure. I mean, he'd just be dead. Eventually, characters push their luck to the point they got to run at some point. So you can just imagine the disabled guy trying to get away from the monster. I'd be like, you're so stupid for making this character. And you gotta think too, like, if you are disabled, like, what's the first thing you fantasize about? I think I want a character that walks. I mean, that's like a no-brainer. That's like, yeah, I think I want to be a guy who still walks. Indie Phantom, are we talking Xmas movies today? I have only watched Eyes Wide Shut so far. That is Kubrick's holiday classic. Oh my God. Kubrick's, I wasn't going to talk Christmas movies today because we did it before, but I will talk about Eyes Wide Shut. Here's my take on Eyes Wide Shut. Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise are married in real life in that movie, and they're also married as characters in that movie. And I didn't believe they were married. That's what I think about Eyes Wide Shut. I think it's not a good movie. Ardent at Indie Phantom, LOL. Alex at Indie Phantom. I watched the classic Christmas movie with a friend yesterday, Die Hard. Alan Rickman was the best. He really was. Kite, pick two friends to carry you down the stairs. Oh, they rolled a nat. What? You were dropped. Now both arms are paralyzed too. Indie Phantom. Awesome, Alex. Kite, Jaws 4 is technically a Christmas movie. What Christmas movie that I like The Year Without a Santa Claus. You know, Heat Miser and Cold Miser. It's that one, right? I like that. I like the original Grinch movie, the cartoon. But I don't watch them. I got them memorized in my brain. I can play them anytime I want. Yeah, I didn't watch any movies today. Again, my family, we play games. So we played this travel game, a lot of resource management, and we played this other game called Scout. That was pretty good. I won I won the first game of the travel game, and I won the last game of Scout, which was pretty good for me. That was half the games. We also played Mexican Train, which is a dominoes game, and I came in second. We had 5 people. I was second to last. I got creamed. Ardent, First Blood, Rambo 1 is a Christmas movie. That is true. There's a lot of movies that take place on Christmas. I wouldn't call them Christmas movies because they're not about Christmas. If you want to watch a Christmas movie, there's a new one out called Hot Frosty. If you want to see the dumbest movie ever, it looks to me. So the premise is, it's like Frosty, the snowman, except the snowman comes to life and he's a hot guy and he falls in love with this girl. And yeah, you can pretty much guess the rest. LeMay, in Ellen, there is a class called the Snail. They start with with terrible stats and potentials, almost no equipment slots, and abysmal speed. Also, any NPC with a cleaning tag will throw salt on you. Really? That's a thing? That's crazy. D&D has fallen far. I could fix D&D, by the way. I am 100% qualified to fix D&D. I have many years as dungeon master and player experience. There is no one more qualified to fix Dungeons and Dragons than me. I worked on the Hackmaster game and I rewrote all 1,500 monsters for Hackmaster. If Elon Musk buys Hasbro to fix Dungeons and Dragons, I'm going to do everything I can to get a gig there. Ardent, isn't Hellboy 2 The Golden Army a Christmas movie? It might be. I didn't see it. I did see the new Hellboy movie. That was pretty good. That's the Crooked Man. Total thumbs up on that one. It's pretty damn good. It's exactly what we talked about in the previous stream. It was, it was like a B movie version of Hellboy. And it was good. Alex at Ardent. So it is. I'll watch it after Tony's stream. Indie Phantom was watching a riff tracks kind of track on the Michael Keaton film Jack Frost. Keaton took the role after George Clooney and Sam Raimi wisely quit. It is effing hilarious. I assume you mean it's effing hilarious in the ironic way, not purposely hilarious. LeMay, it is a hard mode built for bored people. Oh, yeah. I can imagine. Like, what's the advantages of being a snail? I mean, I guess you could be a monk and use your sliminess to slide away from people. Indie Phantom Cobra and Invasion USA are also set at Christmas. So is Lethal Weapon 1. That would be my favorite Christmas movie if we're going to use that metric. Ardent, I've been watching a few YouTube shorts on the new D&D rules. Are so broken. Yeah, and I used to ignore half the rules anyway. But I've been following guys on Twitter who are like old school D&D guys. They keep putting stuff up from the original Dungeon Master's Guide, and some of the funniest bits, like, so Gygax created a chart for prostitutes. When you encountered a prostitute in a city, and all it was just different names for prostitutes. It was like harlot, tart, and like one was like pimp. It was really funny. And he provided no stats. He provided like brief descriptions of kind of like they were, but like no stats of like if you had to fight them. So you had to assume they were 0 level characters with like less than 6 hit points that you could kill like just by punching them, basically. Back in the old rule days. Indie Phantom, I hear mixed things about Carry On, Xmas action movie from Netflix. I watched the first 20 minutes and I got bored and I ended up turning it off. I didn't think it was good. You know what it is? It feels like a propaganda movie for the TSA. That's what it felt like. Because it's all about like how all the TSA guys are really good guys. Ardent, I'm going to try and catch the Crooked Man. Yeah, I recommend it. Alex Ogle, there were Christmas scenes in Brazil. That's a great movie. I love that movie. Indie Phantom. So Hot Frosty is an erotic version of Jack Frost? Kinda. It's more like Frosty the Snowman and a rom-com. Kite. Well, any movie with a Ron Perlman is a Christmas movie because it's Christmas Miracle. He keeps getting gigs because he can't act. Kite. The current Hellboy is Jack Kesey, who is one of the actors from Yellowstone. And then David Arbor was the second Hellboy after Ron Perlman. Ardent at Kite. LOL, it's only because he saves a fortune on FX makeup. That's pretty good. Indie Phantom. Invasion USA is rockin' Ardent. Yeah, Jack Frost is bad. Is bad movie hilarious? Might have to catch that. Ardent. Gary thought of everything. Trollops and slatterns. Yes, I was trying to think of the other words. It's so funny. He even provided a chart that was sort of a 1-to-1 ratio for Gamma World in case you wanted to transfer your Gamma World characters into D&D or vice versa. Ardent. Arbor wasn't a bad Hellboy. The writing was trash, though. Alex at Indie Phantom. Carry On Netflix. I recall Carry On TV Christmas specials with the cast from the films. They could never show those in these fragile days. All right, moving on, and let's see. There's more woke crap in video games if you're interested in that. There's a lot of stuff going on with Witcher 4. Boy, that sounds like a game you should stay away from. Oh, and here we go. DC Comics drops a bomb with Harley Quinn Fartacular, silent but deadly, and new low for comics publishers. I think it's a little bit hyperbolic. I mean, Harley at least is a comedy character, but it's not quite as bad as this comic. Nothing but Nightwing. But this is the general tenor of DC Comics anyway. It's just so dead. Might as well just close up shop at this point, in my view. Ardent at Alex. I think the two Ronnies might be too much for some people these days. What writer's fetish is this? Yeah, exactly. That's all it seems now. It seems like DC and Marvel hire the biggest weirdos out of the left. Like, oh, do you have a weird fetish and you've never written comics before? Yeah, we want you to work at Marvel and DC working on our superheroes to completely subvert them, to be completely degenerate. And I don't use that word lightly. Like, if you had pitched Harley Quinn's Fartacular 10 years ago to me, I would have said, oh, that sounds kind of funny. Because I like fart jokes. But Jesus, man, how much more of this? How are these people still in business? At this point, they're going to be giving away the comics and people will be throwing them right in the trash. Ardent. DC equals degeneracy creations. Yeah. This is so far away from what the character was. It's just, it's not even sad. It's just like, I long for the day that this stuff just doesn't even hit the trades anymore. That there's more to talk about than any of this crap. What else? This is all from last week. All right, moving on to Variety. Ardent, how long before we get coffee table books of comics characters' feet? Well, not from Liefeld. Yeah, no, he can't draw feet. Or hands. Or chest. Or legs. No, I'm just kidding. I like Rob Liefeld. He's the nicest guy in comics I ever met. He was so nice to me when I met him. I kid. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He truly was a really nice guy. So here's more on the box office. What's wrong, Joan? You getting antsy? You want to walk around? Okay. Oh, what else is going on? Oh, of course, SNL. I mean, because this is the amazing thing about Variety to me. This is supposed to be about movies and television, and they have an article about SNL almost every time I do the stream. Like, is it the only TV show on television, Variety? Ardent. I like Liefeld's art in general. He seems like a cool guy too. They're not bad feet, they're just highly stylized. No, I don't like his art. I mean, I'm not afraid to say that. I wouldn't say it to his face, I don't think. I mean, I just don't like his art. I mean, it's not bad enough that I wouldn't read the comic. There's some artists, they're so esoteric, I just can't even read the comic. But Liefeld, I could tolerate his art, but I don't prefer it. And I criticized him in the past for some of his creations, which are just knockoffs of other characters. To me, Dooms 4 was it just felt like a total ripoff of the Fantastic Four, and a lot of stuff he created just felt like ripoffs of other characters. But again, he was a nice guy. Personally, he was just very nice. I think he should use a writer. That's one guy I wish would get a writer. But I kind of wish that for all the Image guys. None of them are really good writers, in my view. But this was this big story this week. I think this just dropped like 2 days ago. So Blake Lively was in this movie called It Ends With Us. Her co-star, who was also the director, Justin Baldoni, she has filed a lawsuit for sexual harassment. So this is like big. I mean, you're talking, this movie did well, and now Blake is coming out right after the movie's basically done, I guess, suing this guy? Holy F, what the hell happened on that set? And this guy, I don't know what the hell happened. I mean, they're also like lovers in the movie, so I don't know how she's going to prove this. He's a director too. I mean, Jesus, what a mess. And I was talking about this with my movie buddy, who's a cinematographer, and he was like, if it's true, it's effed up. If it's not true, it's also effed up. And yeah, so that's going to be a friggin' mess. And I wouldn't count on seeing a sequel to that movie in a while. But Colleen Hoover, who wrote the book, is wildly popular. So I think they have a second one of her books with different characters in development now, or maybe further in the pipeline. But there's a second book with these characters. I don't know if you'll ever see it now. So what a mess. Here's Jared Leto to play Skeletor in Masters of the Universe movie. Also, cast also set for villains Trapjaw, Triclops, and Goatman. Imagine you're an actor. You're working. You do Shakespeare on Broadway, and you go. You do all these acting things, and like, oh, it's good news. Your agent called. Oh yeah. Well, you've been cast. Oh yeah, it's a lot of money. You're gonna be Goatman. I am Goatman. Alan Rickman should have been Goatman. That would have been amazing. Or Trapjaw. That's even worse. Trapjaw and Triclops. The dumbest toys ever. Trapjaw, of course, half your face will be covered by that stupid jaw. If you're Triclops, didn't his head like turn around or something? Like, how do you even act in that? I guess your face is on three sides as you turn the thing. And did he have one eye? I mean, this is insane. Who wants to see this? This is from the 80s, man. This movie's for me, and I don't want to see it. I didn't even want the toys. I didn't even watch the cartoon when it was on. Well, I did, but I laughed at it. I mean, Filmation did the animation on the original He-Man, it was worse than when the Scooby Gang ran down the hallway and you saw the same picture and the same table with a vase on it. It was just like, I'm going to get you, Skeletor. Ah, He-Man. Ah. I mean, Jesus. You can't make a movie out of this stuff. There's not enough there. But okay. Oh, and this was another thing that dropped. The WGA, the Writers Guild, prohibits work with Village Roadshow. They're a fairly big production outfit after it refused to pay members for numerous projects. That's kind of a big scandal. That's kind of a big problem. That may indicate that Village Roadshow's pictures is done, because that kind of is what would happen in comic books. When people stop getting paid, it was like the beginning of the end of a comic book company. And a lot of times what they would do is they would bastardize their own sales by trying to push out another comic just to get some money to pay the guys they owed from 2 years ago, just to shut them up, and then print a few more comics to pay. Like, they're basically robbing Peter to pay Paul, as they say. They had too much inventory and not enough capital to actually pay people, and they would kind of stretch it all out until the whole thing collapsed like a Ponzi scheme. So maybe that to me, I sense that's what maybe the similar situation is at Village Roadshow. But I don't know, as just speculation. Ardent, Village Roadshow, isn't that the Wachowskis? Is that the Wachowskis? Village Roadshow. Roadshow Entertainment Group. Majorly owned by Vine Alternative Investment and Falcon Investments. Oh, maybe they worked underneath it. Yeah, the Matrix series. The company co-productions with Warner Brothers. So, yeah, the Matrix series, Sherlock Holmes. So, yeah. But they're not just about the Wachowskis. I lost my place. Where am I? No. Yeah. Yeah, and this Justin Baldoni guy got dropped by his agency, too, so that's not a good sign. Of course, the Sean Diddy Combs thing continues to, I don't know, spiral out of control and consume Hollywood. He's got 120 upcoming lawsuits. That's a lot of lawsuits. I mean, at that point, don't you have a class action lawsuit? Isn't that what the lawyers do? They put them all together so they could do it all at once? Jesus, imagine 120 lawsuits. I can't even imagine that. And he's in jail. So, I think there's no way. Is there any conceivable way Sean Diddy Combs gets out of prison? I don't think so. I can't believe he's still alive, quite frankly, because he must have some dirt on someone. And you'd think, not to make generalizations, but the rap guys are a little shooty. So he's in the same jail as Luigi Mangione, right? The guy who shot the CEO of United Healthcare. And their lawyers, they have two different lawyers, and those two lawyers are married to each other. Weird, right? I think that's very weird. Alex Ogle? Oh, he can leave prison. It's a question of whether he's still breathing. Yeah, I don't think he's long for this world. I really don't. And look at this. Blake Lively missed hosting SNL Season 50 opener due to Justin Baldoni's smear campaign. There might be the answer why she's suing him. So, or maybe it wasn't a smear campaign and he was legitimately criticizing her, and now he's come back, or maybe they're both a-holes. I don't know. Oh, Sam Rogers is back. Hi, Sam. We're going through the trades. Art Evans, Die Hard 2, and A Soldier Story actor dies at 82. Who was he in Die Hard 2? I don't even remember. He's not the guy from 1. That was his friend, the cop. That was a different actor. Or otherwise they would have said Die Hard, right? More on James Gunn. James Gunn is all over the trades right now. He's all over all. I mean, I've seen so many headlines with him now that the Superman trailer dropped. What's the general consensus here on the stream? Did you like the Superman trailer or did you dislike it? I liked it well enough that I would see it. What did you guys think of the Superman trailer? Oh, dear God, there's more on Blake Lively. It ends with us. Author Colleen Hoover supports Blake Lively amid Justin Baldoni allegations. Never change, never wilt. I don't know what that means, but okay. Wow, that's not a good sign for the director. But again, what do you guys think of the Superman thing? Did I lose you guys, or I guess there's a lag? I'm waiting for you to catch up. Let's see. I don't think there was anything here in Bounding Comics worth talking about. Oh, here it is, Superman. LeMay, I'm burnt out from superhero movies. Can't say I blame you. So I'll take that as a no. Ardent, I'm in. I might not like the movie, but I want to support anyone who wants to go back to the brighter days. Fair? Sam, I'm willing to give Superman a chance. Yeah, that's kind of my vibe. Ardent, we need to have symbols of hope again. Sam, truth is, I'm kind of burnt out too. Yeah, but I would like to see a fun Superman. I mean, I think James Gunn is a pretty good screenwriter when he wants to be. I thought he did a good job with Guardians, so James Gunn says, beat up Man of Steel and Superman trailer meant to represent current state of America. I believe that most people in this country, despite their ideological beliefs, their politics, are doing their best to get by and be good people. Whether or not he means that, I think is irrelevant. That's the sentiment I think we want to see. Alex, I haven't seen the trailer. I suppose I should see it, but I fall into the same camp as LeMay. Yeah, it may be too little too late. It may be too little too late. But if you're a Godzilla fan, Godzilla versus Biolante, I don't remember who that is, is getting an 4K restoration and Blu-ray release from Criterion. Who is Biolante? I don't even remember that. I don't know. Oh, I guess this is the character Biolante. All right, cool. Sure, why not? If you like Godzilla, there you go. All right, checking Hollywood Reporter. Oh, there's some hotties on the cover there. Tina Fey, John Mulaney, Tom Hanks, and more help induct Martin Short in the SNL 5 Timers Club. Oh, so I guess they were on the show when Martin Short was. I wouldn't mind watching some of the Martin Short sketches on SNL, but that's about it. Alex, I love the story of how they created Godzilla's roar. It is a good roar. I love that roar. I don't remember the story. I know I must have heard it before, but I've since forgotten it. Do, 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 do. Predicting Hollywood in 2025, the next James Bond, peak Taylor Sheridan, and more. Well, I don't know about the next James Bond. It sounds, until the broccoli people get away from killing James Bond and the idea of maybe making him a woman or a black woman or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if it was their idea or somebody else, but they got to get back to the basics. And again, put Bond back in the Cold War. Joe Alwyn explains the brutalist ending and the Trump-esque invincibility. It makes me angry. Okay. Oh my God, it's a three and a half hour epic. Oh no. I don't want to see a movie that long. Alex Ogle. They pulled piano strings, taught with asbestos gloves, and recorded the sound. Really? I guess that could be the sound. Sam Rogers. E! The Superbad trailer. Whoops. Poor Sam. He's having such trouble with his phone translating what he's saying. More on Sonic. Jesse Eisenberg. Oh, this was another thing that dropped this week. So Jesse Eisenberg and Amy Adams, although it wasn't this one, this article was another one. Both Jesse Eisenberg and Amy Adams, who were in that Superman versus Batman movie, basically are trashing the movie now. Basically, he said it hurt his career, which I think is true, because I thought he was horribly miscast as Lex Luthor. There's no way Jesse Eisenberg should have been doing Lex Luthor, unless it was a comedy. Then maybe you could have had a neurotic Lex Luthor. Superman. This guy. Like, that would have been fun, but like a serious Superman, and like Zack Snyder to me is so serious. Oh, here we go. In the Superman trailer, this is from Sam. In the Superman trailer, there are people that don't like Superman. I'm curious if they're a stare did for a certain group of people with red hats. Oh, a stand-in for certain people with red hats. I'm not sure. I don't think so, but he did that in Creature Commandos. James Gunn did. But I don't know. They didn't have red hats, and they did in the Creature Commandos cartoon. They had one guy with a red hat. I think they kill him too. But we'll see. I don't think it's that. I don't think he'd go that far out of his way to slam MAGA, but you never know. He didn't seem like the kind of guy who would do that. He's trying to get back to a balance, but it may be that he would do that thinking that, oh yeah, the MAGA guys will like this because they hate immigrants, right? Maybe he might think that way. I don't know. It feels like, there's such in a bubble. In Southern California, they're so in a bubble. They might actually, that may be pulling back for them. But who knows? We'll see, I suppose, in July. Marvel Comics announces Godzilla vs. Fantastic Four special. Okay. That could be fun if it was written by anybody else other than the current Marvel crop of talent. I can't name a single guy at Marvel I would like to see write it at this point, but I've been out of it for quite a while. Maybe there's a guy. I don't know. If you told me Chuck Dixon was writing it, I'd be interested. If you told me some of the old timers were brought back to do it, maybe. Indie Phantom Gun is hardcore TDS. Well, as much as he keeps talking about Superman, I didn't see too many posts. I can't remember too many posts about TDS. But maybe he's finally seen the writing on the wall and will shut his yap. Sarah Michelle Gellar says she may return as Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's a little late. I mean, I think they had you. There was interest in this, like, I don't know, 10 years ago? I guess they've rebooted everything else. Indie Phantom, I am also done with DC for a bit. Let's see. There was a tease for the Living Dead, Night of the Living Dead return, which was barely a tease. But there's not much in a teaser trailer anyway. Oh, Tom Cruise got a medal for he got the top U.S. Navy civilian honor. He also, I don't know if I have the article here, he also passed out cakes as Christmas gifts. They were coconut cakes. I guess he just liked coconut. To everybody who worked on, I guess it was Top Gun. Yeah, I think it was the Top Gun Maverick people. So if you worked on Top Gun, you got a really cool cake from Tom Cruise. I guess it was for Christmas. Alex Ogle, prediction. Remake of the 1990 Handmaid's Tale with T-genders sent to forced reproduction camps where they begin to realize the absurdity of their situation. That would be a hilarious send-up of The Handmaid's Tale. I could see that. Or at least being, you know, if you did like a woke thing. Or an anti-woke thing about that. Be kind of funny. Indie Phantom. He said the country is battered and there is all this border crap. Yeah. I mean, the country is kind of battered. I mean, that's a good acknowledgement from where I'm sitting, because you had people on the left side of politics saying, oh no, everything's great. The economy's great. How could you say the economy's bad? I can't afford eggs. That's how I could say the economy's bad. I'm doing the math at the gas station and at the grocery store every freaking time. That's how I could tell the economy's bad. When I have to keep doing math, the economy's bad. So, I mean, and there has been some, I mean, maybe he's acknowledging it in the way we'd like him to acknowledge it. Here was another hopeful sign, at least. Disney yanked a transgender storyline from a new TV series that's coming out, done by Pixar. So they just yanked the whole episode. So maybe they're seeing the writing on the wall. Again, that may not mean they agree. It just may mean they're going to say, okay, we're not going to do that stuff anymore. They may just say no. Look, what incentive, look, all the people who push this on them, every time they get mad, they could just point to all the old stuff, and they could milk that for the next 5 years, right? They could say, oh, you don't have enough LGBTQ representation. They can just point to their library and go, look right there, it's all there. So, Alex, but Tony, experts say the eggs have never been so affordable, and they've been fact-checked. Oh, well, obviously I'll have to rethink that, Alex. Thank you. Oh, they got Krampus in the Red 1 movie. I don't know. I might watch this Red 1 movie. It's getting some amount of good buzz. I don't know. If I'm desperate. I mean, it's not like I really want to watch it, but I mean, if Krampus is in it, I might want to see the Krampus scene at least. Oops. Didn't mean to click that. All right. Indie Phantom, Cruise is finally showing his age. Yeah, he is, isn't he? Finally, after all these years. I think he's 60 now. And he's finally starting to look like he's getting up there. So it's going to be interesting to see the kind of movies he does. If I had to guess, I think he'll transition into like big name actor mode, like where he'll kind of like a Meryl Streep or like Morgan Freeman kind of thing, where he's only going to do sort of high end stuff. You know, he'll keep doing like, you know, the sequels to Top Gun and whatnot, that kind of stuff. But I think he'll want to transition into Oscar stuff. That's where I think he's headed, at least for the short term. Like Stallone started to do the Bruce Willis B movies now. You'll notice he's doing movies where he's like the veteran or the villain. That's like the two big ones for old aging acting action stars, right? So when Bruce Willis, before he completely lost it, he was doing all these B movies where he was either like the old veteran, although he was often still the star, or he was the villain. He finally did a movie where he was the villain, which I had never seen before. It was that dam movie. The guy was going to blow up a dam. He was the guy who was going to blow it up. And now Stallone's starting to do those movies. Alex, unfortunately for him, Cruise does not have the gravitas for deeper roles. I don't know. He's great in Rain Man. He's amazing in Tropic Thunder. I mean, Tropic Thunder he's so good in. But, and I hear he's good in that, what's that, Magnolia? Magnolia? Was that it? I heard he was good in that. I didn't see that one, though. I like him in Collateral. He's really good in that. And I think that's one you could count, like, it is action, but it's like, you know, he could have done that one now. Like, he could have gotten away with doing that now, even then. Sam Rogers. Perhaps the work propaganda will just become more subtle. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to go for subtlety, but... Or the woke propaganda, you meant. JC. No, he had completely lost it and kept doing those Born on the 4th of July. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about Born on the 4th of July. I don't... The part of the problem is just movies in general. I would like to see Hanks be one of those guys who figures out what the next, you know, next movie-like piece of entertainment is. I don't know if he could do it, but it'd be interesting to see if he catches like the beginning of that before he eventually retires. Let's see. Alex Ogle. Each of those movies involves action. If he has to pick more aged roles, he doesn't have the gravitas for a more thoughtful character. Sam Rogers woke. Yeah, no, I got it. Let's see. I don't know. I want to try to see him do a deep character. Maybe he could do it. Robbie Williams explains why Better Man depicts him as a cheeky monkey. I don't know. I mean, because nobody cares about Robbie Williams, and some people might go to see it to see a dancing monkey, I guess. Polio survivor, Francis Ford Coppola. Wow, what a way to start a headline. Polio survivor Francis Ford Coppola urges caution as vax skeptics take post in Trump administration. Yeah, it's not about that kind of vaccine. They're not skeptical about that kind of vaccine, although RFK Jr. has some thoughts on the advancements of vaccines. Like polio, my understanding is initially what they did to give you a polio vaccine was take the dead virus, inject it into you so your white blood cells could fight against it. But then they created more synthetic versions to do that, to speed up the process, because that was a very slow process. So it's some of those more advanced later additions, not mRNA, although that is getting, I can't really talk about that on a YouTube stream, but check that out on your own. But there's stuff in between that where they added some kind of, I want to say mercury, but I'm not sure if it's mercury. But, you know, they're skeptical. You can be skeptical of medical stuff. JEC, Robbie Williams is big in England. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I mean, here, though, I never heard of him, but sure. Indie Phantom, yeah, Magnolia is good stuff. He is good and Born on the 4th. Yeah, I would give Tom Cruise a chance at least. I mean, then again, he did do The Mummy. Keegan Michael Key references Key and Peele sketch during college football coverage. I used to love that Key and Peele sketch. I wish those guys would come back and do a sketch show. Indie Phantom, movies just aren't events now. That is true. Yeah, it has to be something else now. Alex Ogle, I thought Dexter Fletcher might be behind Better Man. He directed the Elton John and Eddie the Eagle films. Without him, Better Man is not going to be any good. Sam Rogers, I think experimental medicines should be well and truly tested, but only an anti-vaccine would think that. Right. Yeah, we got to be careful what we say about it, but right. Disney tops $5 billion global box office in 2024. First studio to mark post-pandemic. So that's a good sign for Disney, I guess. I don't know what the stats are prior to that. JC, Robbie Williams was from that 190s boy band Take That and has a solo career. He never really caught on here. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean that, you know, maybe people will be into the monkey and take their kids to see it. I don't know. Actor Liev Schreiber boards Oscar contender Once Upon a Time in Ukraine as executive producer. Okay. So it's a shortlisted documentary. All right. So he just jumped on it? It's weird. They already made the movie and now he's the executive producer? I guess he must have helped. I mean, executive producer can be just about anything, but maybe he helped get it more play. LeMay, a reminder, a doctor was thrown in the nut house and died from his injuries for writing a paper about the importance of hand washing before and after surgery. Storebang is here. He's the guy from Menudo, right? Yeah, kinda. All right. The Brutalist builds on awards buzz with strong limited opening buoyed by Letterboxd. I mean, I think it only... How many theaters did this thing open in? Not many. 4 theaters? You're building the buzz on 4 theaters. I guess. I mean, so you could have one in LA, New York, Chicago, and what would be the next? Philly? That used to be the 4th largest market. JC, Take That was gayer than Menudo. Wow. That is gay. Indie Phantom. I remember Robbie Williams from like the 90s. I don't remember anything about the 90s. What was I doing in the 90s? I was doing a lot of improv. I was still playing Dungeons and Dragons, I think. Yeah. Those were fun days. Oh, that was when internet dating was new, and I was dating a lot. Let's see. All right, moving on to cosmic book news. Indie Phantom, Menudo. Now there's a flashback from hell. JC, Robbie Williams was around the Spice Girls era. Now those I remember. I remember the Spice Girls because they were spicy. Star Wars lands on biggest loser list of 2024. Yeah, they should just really put it away for 20 years at this point before they do any more damage to it. Sam Rogers, I meant to say the new vaccines are great. I love my new gills. I can breathe underwater now. Ooh, neat. Here's a leak from the Jurassic World Rebirth, if they have the pictures here. Not this one. There was another one. Oh, they don't have them. Gosh. There was another leak where I think it was on Twitter. I don't know how real these are because I think it was on Twitter, but they were or no, that was on Hollywoke Hot Take. I think it was on here. But she had like she was like half dinosaur. So I don't know. Did they inject her with dinosaur serum and she turns on it into a dinosaur? Is that what's going to happen? It's not what I want to see happen to Scarlett Johansson. I think she could probably still rock a bikini. I think she could. I don't think she'd have to do too many sit-ups to get back in bikini shape. But now they're going to do Girl Boss Jurassic Park, I guess. Yeah, so Star Wars, Biggest Loser, sure. Paramount gives up on Gladiator 2, hits digital after only 30 days. So if you want to see that, don't run to the theater. Oh, this was this was talked about this week. So they're talking about Nathan Fillion's haircut as Guy Gardner and making fun of it. But this is Guy's haircut. This is what he looked like. He looked like Mo. Now they changed it later, but that was the whole point. Again, they were making fun of conservatives again. So if you're looking for where James Gunn's going to make fun of conservatives, it's probably going to be with Nathan Fillion right here. Sam Rogers, yes, the 90s were the best, I'll say. Alex Ogle, Matt Lucas and David Williams, back when they were funny, did some hilarious rock profiles on Take That and U2, amongst others. Oh, I wrote a sketch back in my college days when YouTube was super serious and they never smiled. You know, they used to have these MTV contests where you would win, and you'd win a trip with Van Halen. You just party the whole time. So the U2 contest, instead of partying, you went to a protest and you did a bunch of lame stuff. And the U2 guys never smiled, and you never got to party or drink or meet girls or nothing because they're too busy doing their activism. So it was pretty funny. We had a couple of guys in my sketch group who kind of vaguely resembled YouTube. And, we had them stand there and do all the poses. Oh, joy. Have a Paramount Plus subscription for my mother mostly. Guess I'll have to suffer through it. Indie Phantom, Posh and Baby Spice action. Ardent, they really should have given Guy Gardner a high, tight, marine style haircut. JC, was Guy a conservative? Yeah, he kind of was, I think, if I'm remembering correctly in the comics. Ardent, I hope they don't do the Batman belted him gag. Well, Batman's not in this one, so I definitely don't think they're doing that. Ardent at JC, not really, more of a frat douche, really. I think that's what they're gonna turn him into, though. But yeah, I don't know, he was kinda, I guess Batman was more conservative than him. But I love the haircut. I think he looks cool. I mean, not cool, but like, I think it's fun for the role. I think Nate Fillion might be able to overcome the haircut with his acting. That you won't notice it after a few lines. But we'll see. Let's see. We did that one. The rap. Francis Ford Coppola slams absurd idea Trump would reverse course on vaccines because of the horror of 10-day polio awards day. See, that other headline seemed to imply that he was mad at Trump. Here, he's slamming the idea that Trump would be against vaccines. He's not going to do that. They're just going to look into it. I think they're going to look into a particular vaccine that I can't say on YouTube. Yeah, that one they're definitely going to look into. That one is where most of the attention is going. And I'm happy to see that one looked done. Polio, they're not going to look deep into polio. Maybe, again, some of the advancements that later put some additives in the mix, but Ardent, at least in the 90s, they might change him to a caricature of the right. Ardent, I always like Sporty Spice, especially after Posh had her boobs filled with concrete. Indie Phantom, all the hair in the Superman teaser was bad, in my opinion. That Clark Kent mop is not a wig, apparently. Yeah, I thought that was weird for Clark Kent. But I think what he was going for was he wanted to make Clark look different and goofy. So when he changes to Superman, like his hair's less goofy. Ardent, reverse course. Trump came out and said people have the right to choose. JC, Trump's one of the who made that one. They ain't going to do anything about it. Indie Phantom reminds me of Jeff Spicoli hiring Van Halen. JC, it was Zoomer hair. Let's see. GOP congressman admits he wasn't aware of colleague moved into assisted living in July, but somehow kept her job. Nah, that's BS. I think the GOP absolutely knew, and they covered it up. But if you didn't hear this story, they found out one of the GOP congressmen or congresswomen, she's 81, and she's in Texas, and she is now in an assisted living facility for dementia. You usually have to be pretty bad to end up in a place like that. And I guess her family put her in there, and she has been missing from Congress for 6 months. And no one said anything. Indie Phantom, new Batman is already seen in Creatures Commandos. Yeah, like in that scene where they kill everybody. It's like a fantasy scene. Carter, they knew. There's no way leadership couldn't have known. Yeah, I know that. They're lying, but Senator Joe Manchin calls the Democratic brand toxic. What the hell, the rap? You're supposed to be talking about movies. If you want to read all the allegations against Justin Baldoni from Blake Lively, apparently they list them here. William Wallace. William Wallace. Thank you for attempting to free Scotland. Hey, Tony D. Sorry for missing most of your stream, but here is a fist bump anyway. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody vote me up while you think of it. Ardent at Wallace, welcome. Merry Christmas. Indie Phantom, one of my favorite Crichton movies is Runaway, which I know we've discussed before. Yes, isn't that... that's the Tom Selleck movie, right? Is it the one with the robots going haywire? William Wallace, thanks, and back at you, Ardent. All right, and then finally, that Park Place. David Ayer claps back at angry Snyderverse fans amid support for James Gunn's Superman trailer. And more on woke video games. And Dollywood will have more classic Muppets than Walt Disney World after Muppet Vision 3D closes. So I'm kind of surprised they're closing anything with the Muppets at Disney. That seems to be on brand for them, but they're closing a lot of weird things at Disney to build new stuff that doesn't seem to be that cool or that enduring. It's a little more timely. Like, they built that Bayou Adventure ride based on Titana. I think that's her name. But that seems like a bad move. And then they're building a Cars ride, which also seems old. Ardent, LOL, apparently YT doesn't want to let me comment about polio or vaccines. 2 comments got eaten. Yeah, we got to be careful doing that stuff. Alex Ogle, Runaway is a superb film back when Kirstie Alley was hot and not Mento. She was hot. At Indie Phantom, I was always a Ginger Snap Spice simp. Her and Danny Minogue. Ardent, Disney doesn't like Kermit as he is a straight male in charge. Taytana? Something like that, yeah. Yeah, but he is a degenerate. I mean, he's a cross species. He's in a cross species relationship. I mean, think about that. He's a pig and a frog. That's weird. That is weird. Come on. But they allowed it, and we allowed it to happen. Maybe it's best that they just shut down the Muppets. All right. And it is 9:45, and I'm out of stuff. So we gotta Meligue is happening. JC, Kermit is a simp. Let me see this Meligue from Indie Phantom. Minigue. Minogu. There we go. All right. Is this chick? JC, Merry Christmas. Ardent. Oh, I forgot about Jerry Halliwell. Yeah, ginger is the best spice. Storebang. Tatiana. Oh, yeah. Indie Phantom. Yes, Selleck and bad guy Gene Simmons. So you're talking about this Montague? At JC. Ardent at JC. LOL. Indie Phantom. Back when Christy was still living, Alex. Oof. That's right. She died of cancer, I believe. Minogue. Rhymes with rogue. Oh, okay. Let's see the Spice Girls. There's the Spice Girls. You know, I normally like blondes, but I actually think the blonde one is the least attractive about all five of them. Let's see. Indie Phantom. Christy was the hottest Vulcan. Yeah, that's when she was still hot. Ardent. That's Kylie, not Danny. Oh. Annie. Montague. Ooh. Very nice. Ardent at Indie Phantom. Yes, she friggin' was. Storebang. Who the crap is Danny? I believe it's this chick with the sweater meat. Carter Chain. David Beckham picked well. Ardent at Storebang. Beats me. Ask Alex. So that's her, apparently. Okay. She's pretty cute. But that's my favorite picture of her. Indie Phantom. I saw the Muppet 3D show way back when, and it was hilarious. They're always hilarious. Yeah. Alex Ogle, Kylie Montague's sister. Oh, they're sisters. Ardent, them hips. Storebag, nice. Okay, what have we learned today? What have we learned? Oh, here's young Danny. Cute. That's a pretty cute one, too. What have we learned today? Well, we've learned... What have we learned? Well, first, we've learned that everybody wants everyone else to have a Merry Christmas, so there's that. We've looked back on many hot chicks just recently. We've learned that not too many people are excited for superhero stuff. As I've always said, DC and Warner Brothers does everything 10 years too late. Whatever was hot 10 years ago, ooh, let's do that instead of doing something new. So, LeMay, we learned Sonic is a mega hit, yes. And finally, Moana and Wicked are going away, but some Broadway shows will probably be back. Arden, today we learned that the Swedes are the worse food criminals than the Canadians. That is very true. And they have that horrible fermented fish as well. Alex Ogle, we've learnt that Christmas 2024 is sadly lacking in good movies and nerd culture. Yes. Storebang, Christy Alley's Thunder Thighs are in that daytime talk show appearance, though. I guess we learned that too. William Wallace, like vultures, they've picked the bones clean and then wokeified it. Yes. Ardent, we've learned that I need attention. Go check out my Rumble channel. Indie Phantom, I like Baby Spice. She is a curvy Brit babe. Alex Ogle, Sir Storming. Am I saying that right? Carter Chain, what's wrong with pickled herring? Many things. Many, many things, Carter. Ardent, LOL, yeah. Sir Strum. Oh, that's the pickled fish. Is a war crime bioweapon. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to end on Kirstie Alley. Kirstie Alley. All right. See if I can find the hot pictures of Kirstie. Well, that's a pretty old one there. Ardent, pickled, try fermented. Yeah, fermented. Ooh, gross. I'll have to just go to Star Trek because that's the easiest way to get to hot Kirstie Alley. Oh, come on. Oh, there she is. There's a hot Vulcan. There she is. Ardent, so you're stroming. Kirstie as Savick. Yeah, that was her name, right? Was her name Savick in that? No, she wasn't Savick. Oh, yeah, she was. Lieutenant Savick. Is there another Savick in Star Trek I'm thinking of? Ardent, I mean, she always had a nice-looking face. Right, but her face changed. Like everybody else, her face changed over the years. But she looked particularly cute then. Storebang, her in summer school. Kirstie Alley in summer school. That's a pretty cute picture of her. Indie Phantom, we learned that Hollywood learns slowly and remedially. Yeah, if at all. William Wallace, she did a great job in The Last Dawn. Indie Phantom, yes, Storebang, good flick. The Last Dawn. That sounds like a later movie. Oh my God, what's his face? Oh gosh, I can't think of his name now. This dude. He kind of wrecked his career with Hudson Hawk. He would sing in movies. I think he's dead now. Oh, I can't think of his name. Ardent, you doubt my nerd knowledge? The character was played by Robin someone in the third movie. Alex Ogle, image search Kirstie Alley Runaway. Okay. Is that? She's not in that movie, or is she? What is this movie? Oh, Madhouse. That's an old one. John Larroquette. Danny Aiello. Thank you, Storebang and Ardent. Bonaventure. Indie Phantom. Yeah, Hot and Runaway. Huh. Not really seeing her in is this? That's her in Runaway, I guess. That looks like a shot in the not too distant future. Ardent, Hudson Hawk was a masterpiece. So terrible. There's only one good line in that movie, and it's from James Coburn. It's hilarious. All right, I got to start to wrap up before we start quoting lines from Hudson Hawk. Alex, you're getting very different results to me with that search. Oh, I'm using Brave search. You might be using Google. So I'm using the Brave browser, which I kind of prefer to use because Google, I don't really trust Google anymore. So I stay away from it. Brave, you're supposed to, I don't know, they had some deal where you would somehow get paid for using their browser. I don't really understand how it worked. I think you had to sign up. I didn't sign up. But I use the search. It seems to work fine. The Google one, I don't like it. I don't like it anymore. Nah. All right. Well, I want everybody to have a Merry Christmas. And I will see you before the new year next week. The 29th. I have nothing going on. Nothing going on. LeMay, Crypto Bat. Is that a new search engine? Ardent. Oh, we ain't got a barrel of money. William Wallace. Brave here as well. No commercials ever. So I'll be back next week with another stream. All this week with videos. I got nothing going on. Nothing. So I'm getting ready for the new year. I hope you are too. I hope you are spending time with your families at Christmas. And if you can't for whatever reason, I hope you will at least call them. Maybe do a FaceTime while they're having dinner or something. And if not, if you can't do that, well, maybe you call up your friends and hint that you're spending a Christmas alone, so they maybe give you the invite to come spend it with their family. Don't be ashamed. It's fine. Ardent, Hudson Hawk is one of my absolute unabashed, shameless favorite movies. LeMay, that was what you was paid with on Brave. Oh, lack of commercials. Interesting. Ardent, I'll be doing 2 streams on Christmas. Morning gaming and evening meme cover. Ooh. William Wallace, Merry Christmas to you all in the chat as well. I will be doing the 7 Fishes on Christmas Eve. That's our big holiday. And then we do Christmas Day, where we just play games. Ardent, Merry Christmas and glad tidings to all. Alex Ogle, Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope your pizza is laden with pineapple for the season. No! 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 No, Alex, no. And please don't clip that and send it to the Lotus Eaters. Once again, to remind you, at the beginning of the stream, we talked about Twitch, and thanks to Kite for reading one of my stories from book 16 of the Pineys, The Piney That Saved Christmas. So if you would like to read a Christmas story, it's the only Piney Christmas story so far that takes place on Christmas. It's called The Piney That Saved Christmas, and he read it very, very well. Ardent bastard. John Adams, Merry Christmas. John Adams was here the whole time. William Wallace, LOL. Alex Ogle, don't worry, Tony. You caught yourself just in time. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. It's a Christmas miracle. Joan will be, of course, going with me to Christmas to poop on my brother's carpet again, I'm sure. Ardent, may a horde of Swedes descend upon you and cover your pizzas in bananas. No, 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 Ardent. That's a curse. That's not a, or fermented fish. I mean, that's what the Swedes eat, right? They eat fermented fish and banana pizza. It's crazy. John Adams, I only just popped in. I was visiting with family. Oh, that's good. Well, have a Merry Christmas, John. Glad you could pop in. Everybody vote me up, and thank you for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one. End stream.